Welcome everyone to episode number 9 of the RGW Regular Guys Wrestling Podcast. It's Wednesday, April 5th, 2017. My name's Eric. My partner in crime, James, will be joining us shortly. We have two special guests with us here tonight. To my right, I've got Tyler, and on the phone, I have got Rick. You'll remember them both from past podcasts. How's it going, guys?
I'm really happy to be here. We're off the road to Wrestlemania. We're back on the road to regular times. Let's get it.
How's it going, Rick?
Yeah, everything's great, man. Can't wait to get this going.
Sweet. Yeah, we got a special podcast for everyone tonight. We're going to be foregoing our regular rumors of the week, and we're going to be foregoing our topics of discussion. We're going to be focusing more on WrestleMania 33. We're going to do our review of every match on that card, and we're going to follow up with a WrestleMania S&M, where we're going to basically give our opinions of our favorite match, worst match, favorite segment, and worst segment. After doing all that, we're going to jump over to the regular review / recap of the following night's Monday Night Raw, and afterwards we're going to do the regular Raw S&M. So let's get things started, guys. WrestleMania 33 took place in Orlando, Florida. They beat their old record. Their old record was 74,635 fans. They hit 75,245. So they did well. It certainly didn't hit the what was the record last year in Texas of 103,000, I believe.
Yeah, but there was never any chance of doing that, seeing how the stadium was much smaller. So if they got like 103,000, they'd be like, "What the hell is happening here?"
Parking lot seats. So basically, the pay-per-view started at 4 p.m. Central Time. That was the kickoff show, and it ended at 6. And the actual pay-per-view itself, per se, the main card, started at 6, and what did it go till 11:15 p.m. around there?
Around that sounds about right. Yeah.
Lots of hours of wrestling. The kickoff.
Yeah, it was a marathon.
Yeah, absolutely, Rick. I agree with you. The kickoff had 3 matches in it. It was the Austin Aries versus Neville match. That was for the Cruiserweight Championship. There was the 30. There was a how many man? 20-man or 30-man battle royal?
It must have been over 30.
Yeah. So it was that was the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and afterwards it was Dean Ambrose versus Baron Corbin for the Intercontinental Championship. That was the 2-hour pre-show. We're going to start off with the Neville versus Austin Aries match. Rick, what'd you think of this match, man?
I honestly thought it was at least top 2 match of the night. It was a really good match, back and forth. Both these guys put on a really good performance. It was a good way to start the show.
Neville is putting on the best matches of his career, in my opinion. He was wearing gold that afternoon because he's the king of the cruiserweights, and he was the king of that night. Great showing by Neville.
Yeah, I agree fully. Neville was on fire again. I'm really happy Neville pulled this one off. I'd say the match was pretty much what I was expecting. It was very good. I would say it was top 3 or 4 for sure. It was a good way to kick off WrestleMania. It's too bad they were in the kickoff show, but they started the kickoff show pretty strong. Like, I'm sure the crowd was barely into it.
Yeah, they set the bar pretty high throughout the night. Yeah, it's too bad it wasn't they weren't performing in front of a full house, because they would have definitely stolen the show.
As for Aries, I think he did a fairly good job. I still feel Neville outshined him to a degree. I really like the way Neville finished that match, clawing at his eyes. A very heel tactic to win that.
Yeah, he was in the last chancery submission move, and Neville, desperate to get out of the move, took a thumb to. I think he was just raking at those eyes pretty hard.
Rick, you're probably digging the Neville way. Rick, you're probably digging the Neville heel stuff, eh?
Oh, absolutely. I thought when he was clawing at his eye there, that was the classic heel move, because I believe that's what put Austin Aries on the shelf.
Yeah, that orbital bone injury. He was out for a few months. That's why he was doing the commentary at the Cruiserweight matches.
Yeah, so that, I mean, that's a perfect heel move right there, and to go and get a win at WrestleMania, that was a good match on Neville, for sure.
Yeah, it was really interesting how you start the show off with pure sunlight. Apparently, it was Celsius. It was nearly 38 degrees with the humidity out there. Is that convert to Fahrenheit almost 40 as well? I believe so, right? I think
yes.
so. Actually, I might be incorrect about that. Well, convert it on Google, folks. But anyways, it was extremely hot. Apparently, very windy as well. So that would have sucked, in my opinion, to wrestle in that. But if you got adrenaline pumping, I guess they kind of ignore that.
As long as they don't use the catchphrase "Wrestlemania, it blows," I think they're good.
Well, with the whole Page scandal, you never know what's going to happen these days.
Whoa!
Shots fired. That's the other name of her video.
Shots fired. Hey, this is a family-friendly version of this podcast. Cool. Well, that about sums up that match. Very good match. Neville walked out with the gold. I'm glad he did, and I'm sure these two will continue to wrestle each other for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I'm glad Aries didn't win it. Just like his first, basically almost maybe second or third match back after the injury, and just beating Neville right away would have done nothing. So I'm glad they're going to get a chance to build this for future matches.
Hey, so that match afterwards, what followed? The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, I do believe. That match was not so good. I expected different outcomes in this match. I would have put money on the table that Braun Strowman was going to walk out definitely the winner of this. Him and Big Show were eliminated, I'd say, within the first quarter portion of that match. I was very surprised.
I was actually surprised that Big Show was eliminated. I thought for sure. I thought it was just a foregone conclusion that he was going to win. His match with Shaquille O'Neal, which was kind of hyped up, kind of just abruptly ended, like going into WrestleMania. So I thought they'd say, you know what, you worked so hard to get in good shape for that match. We're going to give you the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal trophy again. And he was like, I'll take it, I guess. But it was not to be.
Rick, what did you think about this match?
It was a stinker. I mean, when the two big guys got thrown over and then Mark Henry was gone, it was like, I'm like, who's going to win this match? They're going to give it to one of these jobbers. They're not going to... The Battle Royal means nothing. The trophy means nothing. For me, it was kind of a huge letdown.
The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal isn't the biggest match. It's one of those matches that get everybody on the card, and there's lots of jobbers right now in WWE not doing a whole lot. So I don't think a whole lot of people were expecting a lot of this match. They tried to hype it as saying, "Oh, look what happened to Baron Corbin. He won it last year. Now look at him. He's on the pre-show."
I know, like when Big Show and Braun Strowman were eliminated, like I was certain personally that Sami Zayn was going to win it, and the reason why I thought Sami Zayn was going to win it was because of the Raw previously where he was dedicating the match to Mick Foley.
I
agree.
I was kind of thinking that either Sammy from Raw or Mojo from SmackDown. I actually kind of thought Mojo might win it because they were kind of pushing Mojo on SmackDown. Again, he was beating losers like the Vaudevillains and the Ascension, but he was still winning matches. So,
do you guys realize on the last podcast when James and I were discussing this, I asked him who he thought he was going to win this Battle Royal, and you can go back and listen to it, but he mimickingly said, Mojo Rawley. So he was right.
He was right. Get that man a lottery ticket.
Yeah, he it was completely making fun of Mojo Rawley by saying that, and he was actually correct. And I'm pretty sure he didn't even see was there a segment regarding Mojo Rawley?
Well, it's been kind of segments throughout the last few weeks on SmackDown when they promote the Memorial Battle Royal. It's Mojo and Ziggler and Vaudevillains, Ascension, Breeze and Fandango, and he kind of gets the pinfall on them.
Okay.
And he kind of wins these little mini battle royals. But I think we forgot to mention his quote-unquote tag team partner of the match.
Who was that?
The New England Patriots' own Rob Gronkowski.
The Gronk.
Yikes.
What'd you think, Rick, about Gronk jumping the railing?
I thought it was a big laugh. Like, it made no sense to me. And then Jinder Mahal throwing the drink in his face was kind of a funny spot. But I guess they needed the celebrity part. They had no celebrities this year. It was pretty weak on that end.
Yeah, I was just listening to the Austin Wade Keller podcast today just for a little bit, and Wade Keller actually thinks that it was purely to get a like an ESPN moment so that they would hit the sports news on TV, and I certainly agree with that.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
The Sports Center highlights of the nights. Oh, look what happened! Look what Rob Gronkowski is doing right now. He's on WrestleMania, guys. By the way, Jinder Mahal kind of missed that throwing of the drink into the face. It kind of landed on his chest.
Oh, he completely missed it. Like, I think he hit his shoulder.
Yeah. I don't even know if it was full or someone said beer, but I'm pretty sure it might have been just water.
I almost guarantee. Well, didn't look like water. It was kind of yellowish. But he hit. I think he hit. I'm sure he hit fans behind.
Yeah.
I think I saw them laughing because they probably would have laughed because now they're part of the moment because it got splashed on. I don't know. But I don't know. Yeah, it was kind of for larfs, and I guess it's just to kind of generate some discussion, Rick? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's really the only spot of WrestleMania that I can think that would have made it into the Hollywood media type thing. Other than that, what else was there?
Oh, agreed. So yeah, that was a bit of a stinker, but in the end, yeah, it was what Mojo Rawley ended up winning that one. That was not what I expected whatsoever.
He stayed hyped.
He did. Finishing off the kickoff, it was Dean Ambrose versus Baron Corbin for the Intercontinental Championship. This was one of the biggest letdowns of the night for me. I was really excited for this match, just myself. It was probably one of the top 4 or 5 I was excited for. I thought these two were just going to give it their all. They did not. This could have easily have passed for a SmackDown match at best. There wasn't much to it, in my opinion. And it was not what I was hoping for. I really thought it was going to almost be a hardcore match without the weapons. I really thought they were going to give everything on this.
Yeah, you and your partner in crime really are high on Baron Corbin, and I can see how you guys were pretty let down at this match. And it was kind of a slow match. Nothing really happened. We saw some Corbin moves. We saw Dean Ambrose do his kind of clothesline elbow drop thing. There wasn't much to this. This could have easily been a SmackDown match. Not even a SmackDown main event match, just a SmackDown match.
Yeah, Rick, what do you think about it?
Yeah, it was kind of a big letdown for me, too. I thought those guys could have put on way better of a show. They could have, did a lot more, maybe pulled out a table or something like that. But, yeah, it was a huge letdown for me. Those guys have a bright future on their hand, and unfortunately they didn't use it at this point.
They were reaching the 2-hour mark. They were backed right up to it. Do you think that they were a little rushed on time?
At that point? I can't think of it at that point. I mean, they still had a lot of time to go. I don't think they would ever come out and rush a match. Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't think so, but who knows?
Yeah, I think maybe they were. Well, they kind of did a switch off with the SmackDown Women's Championship match. So maybe that's all the time the SmackDown Women's match had. So they just kind of like traded the two matches together. Like the SmackDown match later on was probably given the same amount of time as this match, and that match wasn't given a lot of time.
That's actually a really good point because, yeah, you're right. That SmackDown Women's match was supposed to be number 3 on the kickoff show. So, I don't know. But that was the 2-hour kickoff show. I'd say it was a lot better of a kickoff show than other years. If you were to compare it to other kickoff shows, usually kickoff shows, when I think of them, usually involved Stardust and some gimmicky type thing.
I think a couple times on pre-shows they've had 4-corner tag team title matches, and those have been okay, but that Cruiserweight Championship match was probably the best kickoff match we've seen in a long time.
Oh, that match could have easily have passed on the main card.
Yeah.
For sure. So, all right. So, guys, we are going to jump over to the first match of the night. Arguably, in my opinion, I'd say the show stealer. This is my opinion. What do you guys think of AJ Styles versus Shane McMahon, Rick?
Definitely show of the night right there. Those guys put on a hell of a performance. It was a really back and forth match where either guy could have won, and they did the smart thing by making AJ Styles go over on that. I don't think there was another option to go any other way.
Yeah, I think a lot of people weren't expecting a lot of this match, and they were pleasantly surprised. Shane McMahon was jabbing and juking and jiving pretty crazy, and Styles was doing. And this wasn't really. It kind of turned into a little hardcore-y at the end, but for most of it, it was pretty much in the ring the entire time, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, Shane's been training in jiu-jitsu. Apparently, he's still doing it, and I don't know. He was kind of throwing out some MMA moves throughout the match, and his little jab strikes actually look a little bit better than he used to do back in the Attitude Era days. They looked almost real. I was fairly impressed. Both guys are obviously very different wrestlers. Shane's not even a wrestler. To think that Shane in a shoot could beat AJ Styles, in my opinion, is fairly ridiculous. But again, I'm happy that AJ Styles at least had an opponent at WrestleMania. I think they did an excellent job. The trash can thing that was thrown into the ring was a little gimmicky because you knew it was coming. I wish they would have just made that a little bit smoother, a little bit more of a surprise. Because as soon as was it AJ that pulled 2 trash cans out?
That's right. Yeah, he did.
I was like, oh my god, here comes corner to corner. But I guess AJ attempted to move first. That's why he was doing it, kind of to mock Shane, right?
Yeah, it didn't work out for him. Shane had it scouted. He tossed that trash can in his face, I think.
It's a good thing he had a spare one too, I noticed. But no, it was a good match. They were definitely lucky to have the first match on the main card, in my opinion, and Wade Keller had pointed that out as well, because that's when the crowd is going to be at its hottest. It's almost bad to have the last match of the night because people are often sleeping in their chair.
Yeah, especially
especially after that day. Jeez.
Yeah. Well, Rick, do you remember last year with Triple H versus who did Triple H fight last year?
He fought Roman Reigns.
Oh yeah, of course.
What?
That's why I forgot. I only remember the ones that matter.
Oh.
I blacked out at that point.
Yeah, that match was a snooze fest, and well, we'll get to the last match there at the end of this. But I was super happy with this match. AJ versus Mr. McMahon himself, Mr. Mini McMahon. Shane O'Mac. But yeah, I would if I had to rate this one, I'd give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, 8.5. That's where I'd go to. I'm in the same ballpark with you guys. I love this match.
Would you give it, Rick?
Yeah, I'd give it around probably a 7. I mean, you got to put on more of a technical performance to get up into the 8s and 9s, in my opinion. And just throw it a trash can and expect to pass it as a great match. It was good. It was good. Definitely a good way to start the show.
Yeah, that's fair. Next up, AJ Styles. He just happened. Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho. In what, in my opinion, was probably the best build-up match of WrestleMania. Unfortunately, I was a little bit let down with what these two could have done. They wrestled for a mere 16 minutes and 20 seconds. I would have expected a little bit more. I was also a little let down with the way the match ended. KO basically powerbombed Chris on the outside of the ring into the edge of the ring, and that was it. He threw him into the ring and pinned him. It was just a little slower. I was hoping for a little bit more, a little more drama even.
Yeah, I don't think it really got off the ground as it could have. There wasn't. It's like this was a very personal storyline going into it. They've been building this since SummerSlam, and the whole and Jericho cost him the world title. They should have been brawling, lots of punching, lots of anger, and lots of vengeance. But it wasn't a lot of that. It seemed like a kind of a regular match with Kevin Owens barely surviving by the pinky.
Yeah, well, it was his index finger.
The index? Okay.
It was his index, and that was excellent. I loved that.
By the tip.
The tip of the index. What was your overall opinion of this match, Rick? Because I thought it was kind of just raw passable.
it was an okay match for me. The best spot of the night was the pop-up power bomb from Owens, only to have Jericho counter into the code breaker. I thought that was a brilliant way as a reversal right there. But other than that, I wasn't impressed with exactly how much they built that whole program up, only just to have a simple match. I didn't buy it.
Not to mention, this match was for the United States Championship, so I thought, they'd put a little bit more effort into that.
The U.S. title, I think, was kind of secondary. It didn't really need to be defended. I'm actually kind of surprised Chris Jericho actually had it for so long. He had it for like 2 months, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, it was a bystander for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Match after that, we had the women's match. That was so Bayley versus Charlotte Flair versus Nia Jax versus Sasha Banks. That was in the Fatal 4-Way Elimination match, and that was for the WWE Raw Women's Championship. Myself, I wasn't exactly thrilled with this match either. Primarily a few reasons. One, and if James were here, he'd be very adamant about it. We guaranteed Sasha was turning heel on this match. Absolutely. We would have bet everything on this. Sasha not only did not turn heel, she pretty much didn't do anything throughout the match when it came to even hinting a heel turn. Charlotte at one point was trying to give the Sasha and Bayley a high five, and they refused to give her a high five, so she just pointed to both of them. Well, then why don't you two wrestle? And then they just started fighting, like listening to what Charlotte had to demand out of them. I don't know. That was a little bit of an odd turn there as well.
Yeah, I earlier on before the show started, I predicted this match as worst of the night in my opinion, and I was right. This was, in my opinion, the worst match of the night. Last year,
wait till the main event.
That was my worst.
Charlotte, Sasha, and Becky, and they performed at a great match, amazing match. This one felt rushed. The eliminations were nonsensical. Nia Jax is supposed to be this monster, and she kind of smiles. She doesn't really, she kind of almost doesn't really know what she's doing in that ring.
But she's pretty green, right?
She's pretty green. She's very green.
And Rick,
I think she was wearing green tights, was she not? Green spacesuit tights? Maybe not. I think that was a joke. She's wearing red.
And Rick, they only hit 12 minutes on this match.
That's okay by me.
Yeah,
you know what the problem with this match, and I think 90% of WrestleMania was, it all seemed very thrown together. I don't think Nia Jax was supposed to be in this match. I think this was supposed to be a triple threat, and they just didn't have a spot for Nia Jax, so they threw her in, and they're going to work on this beef between Bayley and Sasha later. Yeah, for me, it was a fail. Big fail.
I think this match would have made more sense if Charlotte was still the champion and Bayley won it. Because Bayley winning it on the grandest stage, Charlotte losing her pay-per-view streak on the grandest stage, it would have made more sense of Charlotte being the champion. And Bayley just defending just kind of didn't really make successfully defending, mind you, but defending it didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah,
that's why I said it was bad.
I agree with you. I'm often wondering what's up with these writers in the WWE, because that makes way more sense, and we're just regular watchers, and instead you have Bayley defending, and it was very underwhelming when she won the belt. I would have rather have seen, to be honest with you, any three of the other women win the belt in that match, but Bayley defended it. That's just my opinion, but I wasn't thrilled with the match whatsoever.
Well, this Sasha heel turn you guys were talking about would have made perfect sense for her to win the title tonight.
It would have been.
Yes, it's her and it's either her and Sasha, the last two, and she screws over her friend or somehow like that and wins it like that. That would have made a lot of sense. Might have made the match a little more enjoyable.
Here's the problem: Nia Jax. They threw Nia Jax into the mix and it threw a monkey wrench. You know what? That would have been perfect, Tyler. But Nia Jax was the problem.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
And the thing is, too, it seems like they are going to turn Sasha heel sooner or later. And I have a feeling they're going to turn Nia face simply because of what happened on Raw the following night. We'll talk about that later.
Oh, I was actually thinking they would turn Charlotte face after that. What happened? But
well, we'll
get
talk
to
about
it. We'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Now, next match was definitely not a snooze fest. I was originally calling this match to be probably the worst match of the night. I think James had agreed with me. It was was it called a Fatal 4-Way Tag, Tyler? Yeah, I believe so, right? Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Ladder Match?
Turned into a Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match.
It was a Fatal 3-Way.
Triple threat Tag Team Ladder match.
Triple threat. So, New Day came out after the 3 teams had come into the ring. The teams composed of Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, who were the champions, Sheamus and Cesaro, and Enzo Amore and Big Cass. And New Day, their music hits. They're at the top of the ramp, and they announced that they're going to be entering a 4th team into the match. Essentially, swerving us into thinking, well, it must be the New Day. They're going to enter themselves. They even had some gear on, I believe, at the time.
They were in their gear. They were ready to go.
I myself knew what was going to happen. I called it in the previous podcast. James did not think it was going to happen. But, they announced... did they formally announce who was coming out, or did the music just hit?
I think they just kind of went, who could it be? Who? And then the music hit.
Yeah, they never actually said the name, but yeah, Hardy Boys, their music hit. I marked out. Big time. Yeah, Rick, I cheered pretty loud. I was pretty happy that the Hardy Boys made their appearance. Crowd went ballistic.
We were all in shock. Crowd went nuts.
Nutso.
75.
When all those ladders were set up and the Hardys came out, it was like TLC all over again.
Well, I thought it was foreshadowing, like when Gallows and Anderson were beaten down on Sheamus and Cesaro in the back there. Was it last week with the ladder? The rumors started floating around that could it possibly be something related to the Hardy Boys? With their history with the ladder matches with Edge and Christian.
I never even thought of that. I thought when people mentioned Hardys may be at WrestleMania, I was saying, maybe maybe Usos will have a minute and they'll quickly beat them and grab their titles. But
now they were occupied with the Battle Royal.
Oh, I forgot. They had their moment.
The tag team champions of SmackDown were too busy being entered into some junky Battle Royal.
Unceremoniously being thrown over the top.
Rick, what do you think of this match, man, with the Hardy Boys?
Match was great. The high spots were great. The return of the Hardy Boys was phenomenal. They look a little older, but, they still got it. And the matches that are ahead of them, I'd love to see the Dudley Boys come back. Who knows? Like, the matches that we're going to see are going to be great, I think.
I actually find that Jeff looks just like he did when he left WWE.
He looks better than he did before he left WWE because he was wearing all that weird face paint all over his face when he was still in here. So I'm glad he's kind of done with that. He's got that tattoo kind of going all over his arm and onto his ribs. Matt Hardy kind of looks a little funny because he was doing the broken Matt, so he had the frizzy hair and the beard, but he doesn't have the beard anymore. So he's kind of walking around frizzy haired, and the blonde streak. But he's just regular Matt Hardy, so that was kind of odd.
Well, he wasn't regular. He was doing the insane look. He was doing the big smile. He was teasing it. He was doing he'd put up both of his hands out and clench his fingertips together like he was like broken Matt Hardy. He's doing things that he's allowed to do without TNA saying, "We're gonna sue you guys."
Yeah, I guess so.
And now, there's rumors that he could, he had tweeted out stating that the crowd was the crowd chanting delete was making him feel savage. So I don't know if we're going to see a savage Matt Hardy.
Savage Matt Hardy, yeah. They'll do whatever they can to get around the TNA pending lawsuit.
Yeah. But no, I think Matt Hardy actually was more of the popular two at WrestleMania 33, and I'm really happy that Matt was the one that pulled the belts down. I think I think Jeff's allowing him to get the tip of the hat now. It was always Jeff that was kind of shadowing over Matt, and I think it's kind of turned over now.
Well, Jeff does the insane moves, but Matt's kind of always been more of the character, more of the creative, more of the mouthpiece for the Hardy Boys.
Yeah, he's got way more personality.
And he's going to do it even more now, which is good.
Got anything to say about that, Rick, or should we jump over to the next match?
I think we can move on here.
Right on. Yeah, that was probably... I'd say that would probably be one of the best matches of the night as well, in addition to Shane and AJ. But that's just my opinion. There was a few other good ones. So
it was good. It was good for sure.
It was good. Next match of the night, John Cena.
We can skip this one if you'd like, but
Yeah. This, I expected better things out of this match as well. That gives you an idea of how bad this match really was. But Cena and Nikki Bella versus The Miz and Maurice. There's been lots of stuff over the last couple of weeks, storyline-wise, on SmackDown, especially with Miz and Maurice acting out in the house, pretending to be John and Nikki. But Tyler, what do you think of this masterpiece?
This match had a lot of potential, I believe. They did a lot of great job hyping it. Towards Smack. When they first announced, when we first heard that this match might be happening, we were like, please no. Why? But then we saw what they were doing with it going into WrestleMania, and we were kind of excited for it. I was especially. I thought it could be really good, but it kind of turned into like this was another SmackDown match where it could have been just John Cena versus The Miz. Nikki kind of did a little bit. Maurice kind of stood there looking pretty, but she wasn't really pretty because she had weird lipstick. And then they just kind of did a double "you can't see me" fist drop.
Oh God, that was
the worst.
How hard to watch. But
into a attitude adjustment, TKO Nikki knockout, and kind of a double pin, and that was kind of it. Nothing really special about this match at all.
I think Rick liked it though.
Oh yeah, I also like watching paint dry. That's a little bit more entertaining. You know what? That match was absolutely terrible for me. Them kind of mimicking each other's moves and their style. The build-up was okay. This was a stinker for me. The whole thing sucked about it, and then kind of knowing going in that Cena was going to pop the question, and this is all another TV show waiting to happen. Again, it just didn't have a whole lot behind it for me.
What was with the terrible announcer at the start there off of what was it?
Al Roker from the Today Show. I guess John Cena hyping WrestleMania was on the Today Show a couple times, and maybe he invited Al Roker to be there.
He did a horrible job.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
Roker did a terrible job. It sounded like he was reading off a teleprompter. He was very choppy when he was announcing their names. I don't know. He just wasn't smooth whatsoever. I would have rather somebody like bringing the Fink back.
I guess they wanted. This is another one of those ESPN Sports Center moments where they can Monday morning they say, "Hey, Al Roker, you were at WrestleMania." He's like, "I sure was, and I had a blast."
I thought it was at Impact Wrestling. Next match of the night was Triple H versus Seth Rollins in a non-sanctioned match. Rick, what'd you think of this, buddy?
This was awesome. I actually didn't expect a whole lot out of these two. I didn't know where they were going with the whole injury line. I was actually surprised I didn't see Samoa Joe show up because he had nothing to do with WrestleMania. It was a great match back and forth. They played up the injury angle really well. I thought it was awesome. All around great match. And the entrances were phenomenal as well. Like Triple H coming out on the three-wheeler, awesome.
Yeah, Seth Rollins, we weren't sure when he came out with that torch, we weren't really sure what he was doing. But then when he put it down and that fire went all the way down the ramp and onto the ring and covered the ring, that was really effing cool. And this match was definitely a match of the night for me. Great match all around.
Excellent ending, too. Loved the ending of the match. I love that Stephanie was willing to take a bump for the match, how she was knocked off the ring. Loved Triple H's reaction. Excellent acting on his part where he looked down and his jaw was quivering. Like, that guy knows his stuff when it comes to visual effects. It was really good. And he turned around and he got the pedigree from Seth. Finally, Triple H gets a pedigree. It's been how long that we've been wanting to see this. And as for the entrances, I thought Triple H's entrance was wicked. In fact, maybe one of his best gimmick entrances ever. I don't know. Well, which one did you like more in the past?
Oh, my favorite was the King of Kings from WrestleMania 20.
Was he on a throne?
He came out on a throne. He was looked like a barbarian almost. That was way back from WrestleMania 22.
That was pretty cool. I've said in the past with James,
that was the best.
I've said in the past with James because I'm a Terminator fan. I like the Terminator one, but it was a little little slower, a little choppier than this one with the bike.
Oh, you enjoyed Arnold Schwarzenegger announcing him? I thought that was kind of lame when Arnold Schwarzenegger announced him, and he came out with Terminator heads.
I'm a Terminator, Mark.
Weird. Okay, Terminator, Mark.
I liked Seth's gimmick with the lighting the stage on fire and whatnot. That was really cool. Wasn't a huge fan of the Golden Boy gimmick though, wearing the big golden suit and whatnot. I don't know. I'm just more of a fan when he's wearing his black ring gear, like when he was with the Shield and etc. It was kind of cool when he wore the white ring gear, but the gold, I don't know.
I really dug the black and gold. I thought it was really cool. I think you looked good in it.
Did he have any black? No, it was just pure gold this time.
No, it was black and gold.
Was it?
Black, yeah.
Did you see any black?
That was gold and white.
Yeah, I didn't see any black.
Christ, two or three different colors. What's going on?
We're all colorblind, folks. But match was awesome, really good. One of my favorites of the night for sure. Pretty smooth.
Yeah, it was. You mentioned Triple H finally getting nailed with the pedigree. There was there's quite a few spots where it was like Seth is going for the pedigree, and then Triple H reverses it, and then Triple H is going for a pedigree, and Seth reverses it. So when he actually nailed it, it was really good. But I do wish going forward that he would get a new move.
Well, yeah, agreed. It's kind of a stolen move per se. But I also got to say Triple H took that pedigree perfectly.
Yeah, took it like a champ.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It was really well done. Next match, Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt for the WWE Championship. I myself was looking forward to this match, and I was fairly let down with this match. I found a little bit of a snooze fest, a little boring. The gimmick with the CGI ring effect there with the maggots and the flies, and it was kind of neat, but kind of got old fast. And as much of a fan of Randy Orton I really thought Bray was going to win this one. I didn't think Randy was going to pull it off. But as the match went on, I could tell just based on how things were going that Orton was going to take it. And yeah, go figure. They gave the belt to him. I'm seeing this feud going on though, and maybe Bray will win the belt back. But I don't really have too much to say about the match because it was really uneventful to me.
Yeah, aside from the video things on the mat, which by the way, if you're wrestling and somebody puts a video on the mat, do you even notice it? I was kind of thinking that. Well, are you looking at the ground while you're wrestling? No, you're looking at the opponent while you're wrestling. So.
I don't think Orton would have noticed it. Like the fans see it, but not the actual wrestler.
They purposely put like a bird's eye view camera angle to see those screens. But if you're just standing, like it was meant for Orton for him to be confused. But if he's not even paying attention to the ring, then it's kind of lost.
Rick?
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty bad match. The whole thing on the mat, I kind of felt like the stuff on the mat took away from the actual match itself. Yeah, I also felt like this whole match and the way they're doing all this is leading up to something more, and this the whole Mania match was kind of a stepping stone onto something bigger.
Yeah, that sounds right. Like this match was kind of the beginning of a culmination. Although WrestleMania is supposed to be the culmination is WrestleMania, not the beginning of something else. So maybe that's probably what the problem was too. And just kind of, I guess they're also trying to promote RKO out of nowhere kind of thing too. That's kind of what happened.
I don't know. It's for the championship. It's for the world title. So I just kind of expected a little bit more out of it. Expected to be a little bit of a smoother, quicker paced match, and it just wasn't. It was a letdown for me. It was one of the bigger letdowns of the night, just based on what I expected. So.
Yeah, like I was very surprised Bray Wyatt didn't win that. As long as Bray Wyatt's been trying to win the championship, he finally gets it, only to lose it to Orton that quickly after that much of a build-up. To me, it didn't make sense, but I guess they're going for a longer-term thing, and this will play out in the future, and we'll see how it goes.
All right, guys. Well, my partner in crime, James, has returned. How's it going, James?
Oh, it's going great. My hands are a little cold, but I got a cup of coffee in me.
How was your curling game?
Curling was actually good. We scored a whole point.
One whole point.
One whole point. I drew it right to the button. It's one of my passions in life, wrestling and curling.
All of our American listeners are like, how stereotypical.
Did anybody understand that drawing to the button reference? I don't know if they did or not.
I don't think I did, but now I do.
What was he doing? He was drawing buttons?
So that's how curling is done. Whoever draws the best button wins.
Okay, guys. So we just finished off recapping the Orton and Wyatt match. We're moving over to Brock Lesnar and Bill Goldberg in their 4-minute and 45-second classic.
AKA longest match they've ever had.
It really was the longest match. Goldberg actually rolled out of the ring for this one and speared Lesnar through the barricade.
Yeah, through the barricade, yeah.
Could hear that the clasps being released in the back of the barricade before he did so.
I missed that, but you're probably right, I'm sure.
Yeah. Rick, what'd you think of this thing, man, compared to their 2 other matches and their encounter at the Royal Rumble?
Well, compared to their other ones, it was phenomenal. That was a Iron Man match for the other ones.
Well, their match at WrestleMania 20 was longer, but this was probably just better because they weren't bitter.
And it wasn't rushed either. It was there were some good spots there. I thought it was almost a showing of their last match where it was going to come out. It's going to be a spear jackhammer, and that was it. They did a good job of mixing it up, and Lesnar came out on top.
I found it interesting that like a lot of people will criticize Bill Goldberg for having only 2 moves, the spear and the jackhammer, but Brock Lesnar hit about 12 German suplexes and an F5. That was it. There was no throwing of hands or anything.
Yeah, 2 moves of doom versus 2 moves of doom.
Yeah.
That's a really good point because old Brock Lesnar did, a regular move set.
Right.
Like 3 moves.
Well,
He might have had 4.
but I don't remember the last time I saw Brock Lesnar strike an opponent. I'm serious. I don't remember the last time he punched someone.
Yeah, no, it's not really something he does anymore, which is kind of funny because, I mean, especially with the mixed martial arts background as well, like I'm sure obviously he's not a big striker.
Yeah, well, Rick, what kind of a striker is Brock Lesnar in the UFC?
He's got monster fists, but they're pillows. So.
Pillow puncher. He's a terrible striker.
Yeah, he's not a great striker at all, but he'll wrestle your ass off. So.
And he also can't take a real hit in real life either. So, as we know when he fought Cain Velasquez, but that's that.
And that's that.
But no, the match was relatively good compared to their previous encounter because it was longer. I think the crowd expected Goldberg to lose. The crowd was pretty rough on Goldberg as of late, I found.
Yeah.
Like they really have turned on him very quickly.
I don't really know why. Every time he goes on Raw, they're chanting Goldberg, Goldberg, and here they're booing him pretty badly.
I agree.
Know what changed.
No, I agree with you. I don't quite understand where the big change like that was. They just grew completely tired of him right away.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not really sure either exactly what happened to kind of turn the crowd that way. But yeah, the crowd was pretty happy to see Lesnar beat him.
I read a rumor that we could see Goldberg again in the future. Like WWE's not opposed to it. He'd probably need a lot of money, and they'd need a really good opponent. Rick, can you think of anyone that would be a good matchup against Goldberg in the future?
Well, that's tough because the future is going to change very drastically with all the NXT guys coming up. Maybe Triple H?
Yeah.
I can't really think of anybody that would matter at this point anymore.
You know what? I agree with you. That actually would be a really good one if they were to utilize the old storyline because Triple H, do you remember Triple H versus Goldberg in the past?
Oh, back that storyline.
Yeah.
Okay.
If they were to continue that, they don't usually touch on old storylines like that, but
yeah, not
they
like they did
could.
with this one.
I can't really think, like, James, you and I have discussed this before, who would be a good matchup for Goldberg and Lesnar. And for Goldberg, we had mentioned Braun Strowman because they're both beasts. We had mentioned Rusev because they're similar body types. But it's not a killer matchup with either scenario.
Yeah, like I mean, Goldberg really, he's got to match him with the star.
Yeah.
Rusev, I like Rusev, but he's not really a star at this point.
Well, he's barely a B wrestler.
No, like I mean, especially the way you've utilized him in the last year and a half or so, it's been, it hasn't been very good. So to have him against somebody like Goldberg's caliber, I don't think would be the right move. Maybe, I mean, I agree. Probably Triple H is really the only one that really has that. That is of that caliber, is kind of like an A player.
We said Jericho too in the past.
Yeah,
but that's more from a shoot perspective.
Jericho could work. They also have backstage history too, right? Like they fought before.
Yeah, it would work. Like Goldberg's not really going to bump for Jericho, I don't think.
No, Jericho would have to go heel too for that match.
I wouldn't mind seeing him in a quick, like against someone with a quicker pace, say Seth Rollins versus Goldberg. I think that'd be kind of interesting.
Someone to carry him.
Well, you need somebody to carry that match. You need a strong player to be able to guide him and tell the match where it's going to go.
Not only that, but he's fighting big guys. Like I think quickening the pace might make it more interesting. And I think we're also forgetting a big star that we never mentioned, John Cena versus Goldberg. I think would be a really good match.
That's a pretty good idea, actually.
Yeah, Cena Goldberg. That's in a way kind of a dream match, actually.
How about Hogan versus Goldberg? Could you imagine those two right now?
That match was a great match back in 1999.
1998.
Okay.
So almost 20 years ago.
I'm not even sure if I would have called that a great match. It was an okay match.
It was a match.
I didn't say it was good. I didn't say it was bad. I said they wrestled.
Yeah. The thought of it though was that was a dream match. But that was 1998. Now is now, and that'd be absolutely horrendous if those two wrestled each other now.
No, that'd be back in the late WCW era, Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan fought in a cage, and online it was jokingly called the Age in the Cage match.
Oh God.
That was back then.
And that was like in 1999 or like 2000. It's now 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that wouldn't work.
Well, Hogan's more cyborg than man now, so maybe he wouldn't be that bad.
He'd be good.
His hip replaced, his back replaced, his legs replaced.
He's RoboCop now.
He's Robo Hogan.
All right, next match I'd like to be called by James. James will announce the next match. It was the SmackDown Women's match. There wasn't 4. There wasn't 5. How many people were in this match, James?
It was the 6-pack challenge.
There, I just made your night.
That's great. I'm gonna drop the mic and go now.
It was Naomi, Alexa Bliss. Alexa was the champ. Becky Lynch, Carmella, with James Ellsworth.
Oh yeah.
Mickie James and Natalya. Personally, I was a little disappointed in this match. I didn't expect much out of it. I was very happy with the winner of the match. I was happy Naomi won. I actually really liked Naomi's entrance, by the way. I like
that
Naomi's
glow,
entrance.
that glowing thing.
I think
in the glow.
I think it's pretty cool. I like it. I like that she won, but that match felt extremely rushed. I think they were running out of time. That match was actually only 5 minutes and 35 seconds long.
So it was just slightly longer than Goldberg Lesnar.
That's right.
And this was a bunch of young ladies.
Yeah.
Could have been fast paced.
It kind of was.
Well, I mean, it could have been fast paced, but like kind of drawn out a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I meant.
I think we mentioned earlier. Let's go back in time. How long was that Dean Ambrose Baron Corbin match?
The Dean and Corbin, that was 10 minutes and 55 seconds.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yep.
That wasn't very.
We were talking earlier that maybe these matches kind of traded places, so that's why the Corbin Ambrose match was felt short.
You're right. It still could have been a trade though.
Time, so.
Rick, what do you think of this match?
It wasn't nothing special. My question is, why is it going over top of the two main event players, Orton, Brock Lesnar, Bray Wyatt, and Goldberg?
I've noticed this lately. Again, I think it's a gender equality thing. They've been throwing one of the women's matches in between championship matches of the men. They've done this a few times, and it didn't actually surprise me. The only thing was, I thought it was going to be the Raw's women's that were near the end. Like, I thought I had called, was it last week, James? I had said that it was going to be Charlotte's match, second last.
Yeah, you did mention that.
I did. But instead it was the SmackDown women's, which was much more thrown together compared to that of the Raw one.
Well, you mentioned gender equality. I think it's gender inequality. They're using this women's match to let the crowd calm down from the last two big matches.
Oh, that's how you see it. Okay.
That's how I see it.
Okay. I never looked at it that way, actually.
And I think that's what they usually do with women's matches, the AKA bathroom break matches.
Yeah, which they're definitely trying not to do now.
You could also argue it's brand inequality as well. Like, you almost don't want to have the Raw spot in that match because it's rushed, right? You want the Raw match to be a little bit better, so they got technically a better spot.
And that technically would have been 3 Raw matches in a row, because it would have been
you can't do that either.
Goldberg, Lesnar, and then if you did the women's 4-way, and then you'd have Reigns, Undertaker. That's 3 in a row.
Yeah, because what Rick just said is based, what we had discussed earlier, James, before you'd shown up, was AJ and McMahon, when they had wrestled, they were the first match of the main card,
right?
Which was an excellent position to be in.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, maybe what Rick says is true. Having the Raw women's at the start, everyone was still awake, everyone was focused. Whereas at the end of the show, everyone's just thinking about the Taker Reigns match and then going home because they're tired. The show was over 7 hours long with the pre-show.
Well, at this point, people the crowd had been sitting there for at least, I would say at that point, probably when the women came out, 7 hours.
Yeah, because if you were to go, how early would you show up? I'd show up probably about an hour early.
An hour early for like the pre-show. Especially
I mean, if it starts at 4,
yeah,
I'd probably show up at 3. You want to walk around, enjoy the experience, see how everything's set up.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get a feel for everything. So yeah, you're there for probably 8-9 hours.
Yeah,
man, I'd have to bring like a thick piece of foam to sit on or something. Look like an old man.
Not to mention that you're in line just to get in. You're probably in line for a while.
Oh,
you're looking for a parking spot.
Yeah, could you imagine if you drove?
Taking a bus.
So you drove there.
Yeah.
So then you're looking for parking, and then you're trying to get out of said parking lot.
Yeah, with 75,000 people.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean that's a lot of people. So people are gonna be tired after all of this. I know I'd be tired.
I'd be sleeping on the cement at the foot of my chair, eating popcorn off the ground.
Why is my face stuck to the ground?
Can't move. So much stickiness.
Why is Mojo Raleigh beside me? This is the only place they allowed me to sit to watch the rest of the show.
Is that Gronk?
No, Gronk left because he's actually famous.
He didn't want to watch the rest of WrestleMania.
Like, I'm done.
He's like, I don't do pro wrestling.
Actually, he had a lot of intensity, though.
Yeah, that was a
spot.
Was a pretty good shoulder tackle.
It actually was, yeah. He has that kid's got a career in front of him right there.
Yeah, he's a pretty colorful guy.
Hell of a hand.
Hell of a hand.
Hell of a hand. One more match to end the night, guys. The best match that I would give 1 out of 10. This was horrible. Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker in a no-holds-barred match, which I didn't know it was going to be, by the way.
No, I don't think they even announced it beforehand. Everything that I'm reading online, like all the articles and reviews, I think about one review on Bleacher Report that did a review. I know this Mr. Tito that we read on lordsofpain.net, his column, he also said I don't think that it was announced that it was a no holds barred. I certainly don't remember hearing it was no holds barred.
Like, Rick, did you hear this? Like, what did you think of this thing?
No, I never heard nothing about that. I didn't know it was no holds barred at all going in.
That was a surprise to me.
Yeah.
So it was just an excuse for them to be able to use weapons because
Do anything, go wherever.
Yeah.
Without it, it would have limited the Undertaker even more.
Yeah, they were making up for some limitations in that match for sure by doing that.
For sure.
And maybe that was a last-second decision based on how he was feeling. Because Undertaker looked, in my opinion, fairly terrible in that match. Very slow, very achy looking, very stiff looking.
Or did he all work us?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think that he'd be working the crowd in that way at WrestleMania.
I really don't think so, because the way that match ended, when Undertaker turned and turned and turned while Roman Reigns was bouncing against the ropes until he finally landed the final spear, it was atrocious to look at. He looked like he was lost in that ring.
Yeah, it was pretty hard to watch, actually.
It was.
Yeah, he unfortunately kind of proved that he's past his prime.
I only
his
remember
expiry date, really.
I barely remember anything in this match because I was so disappointed with it. I remember a really good big boot. That was it.
He did his 3-hit combo: the snake eyes, the
The
big boot,
The
yeah.
Gogo Palata.
I think he tried to do the Gogo Plata, but he couldn't quite reach him.
That looked terrible.
Well-
It was, you know what? There was at least 4 botches in that whole match that I counted.
Oh,
There was the reversal of the tombstone. Like they
embarrassing.
tried that 3 times. and
Oh,
it
yeah,
turned out
that was
terrible.
bad.
It was bad.
Yeah, that was brutal. Roman Reigns couldn't lift up Taker. Taker is a heavy guy. He's probably heavier than he normally is because, well, maybe he's just doesn't work out quite as much. But he couldn't lift Taker up. He was like dead weight. He tried again and
tried
failed.
2 or 3 times, yeah.
But I think if they angle it right, where if he just kind of falls straight, he can use Undertaker's weight and just kind of hold him up. But they kind of fell mid doing that, and they tried to save it, and they couldn't save it.
Well, kind of once you lost that momentum, I don't think you can really get it back.
No.
Because you need that. It's almost like a pendulum, right? Like you need that weight distribution to kind of swing back. But once you kind of lose it and it's now falling forward.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, unless you're like freakishly strong, now all of a sudden you have to try to pull this 300-pounder back to where you need him to be.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's because the momentum is what you need, right? It's like when you're trying to do a suplex. Like you could stop anybody from doing a suplex for you, right? Because it's what you need the other person to kind of dance with you, right? Like you need that other person to jump and give you some momentum for it to look fluid. Otherwise, you're just a clump.
Yeah, try and suplex somebody that doesn't want to be.
Totally. Exactly.
No, agreed. Yeah, the best part about the match was just how Taker kind of ended it. He was about to walk out of the ring, and he changed his mind, and he removed his gloves, he removed his coat, and he removed his hat. He stacked them up nicely in the middle of the ring, and signifying that his career was over. That was nice. Had some tears in the crowd. They were panning on some.
Yep.
And there was a munchies in the crowd. That was
Have we talked about munchies?
We haven't
No, this is the
discussed.
first mention, so nobody knows what you're talking about.
We haven't discussed the guy wearing the munchie shirt. What was it? A tie-dye shirt in the background with Cookie Monster on it. He was doing some weird stuff with his old school digital camera, and when Roman Reigns was pitting Taker, he stands up, clear view right in front of the camera, feeds the bird, double middle finger to the camera. I don't know. There were some pretty colorful characters in the crowd that night, and Munchies may have topped them all.
There was one guy wearing like a lime green polo shirt that I don't even remember why, but he was like, "Yay!"
He did that clap.
He did the fast clap.
You'd swear he was hired. It looked so fake
He was
the way
a
you.
plant.
He was a plant because when Roman, it probably was because when Roman won, he was nearly right in the sight of the camera, and the way he was cheering looked so brutally fake.
Well, it's so funny. We paused it, and there were like 9 guys right in the first couple of rows. One was Munchies, and then there was a bunch of other guys around him, and everyone either looked disgusted or they were not interested or they were angry. There's one guy on the far side with this big stupid grin on his face. He was just like, "Yay! My favorite."
Rick, did you like the way they sent off Taker at the end, though?
Could I write a better way of him going out? Yeah, 100%. I'm glad that he got the WrestleMania moment over top of Roman, and it actually gave me like such goosebumps to see Taker walk all the way down that big long ass ramp, only to get to the end and just look back at the crowd over top of his shoulder, and then get a look of like evil looking Undertaker with the WrestleMania sign behind him. That was picture perfect for me.
Yeah, well, couldn't say it better myself. It was good. That was nice, but I just would have liked to have seen him go against someone else. We've discussed it 1,000 times already. I really wanted to see him versus Cena. It would have been nice to have seen him versus John Cena last year, and I wish that would have been his final match. I was actually, I was personally done with Taker. I didn't want to see him wrestle another match because I knew his what status he was in. He wasn't doing too good. And last year it would have been good, but it just didn't work out with Cena. Cena was injured, if I could recall.
Yeah,
right?
he was injured. He wasn't at WrestleMania, actually. So, but yeah. So, but I mean, at the end of the day, even like the fact that Taker was kind of not himself. He certainly wasn't vintage Taker. He was kind of moving around the ring, kind of like a bit of an old man. I don't know. Could John Cena have salvaged that match? I don't know. It's hard to say.
He would have helped more than Roman Reigns. Cena has been around forever. He would have helped carry, as odd as it is, he would have helped carry Undertaker throughout the match more so than what Roman Reigns could have done. That's my thoughts on that.
I think they might have had a completely different storyline going in, because this was kind of this is my yard, this is still my yard. They kind of wouldn't have done that. It would have been completely different. And
That's true.
like Cena wouldn't have done this, like yell at him, stay down, stay down. He wouldn't have given like attitude adjustment after attitude adjustment after attitude adjustment.
You know what? I think he would have if Roman wasn't in the company. I still think they would have used Cena as, I'm the quote-unquote new face of the company, although he is far from new. But now that they're passing it on to Roman, that's far from what they want to do with Cena. So I agree with you on that.
I wonder if they would have maybe done something like because Cena's been around a long time. We obviously know that Cena is kind of almost not transitioning out completely, but transitioning into a part-timer, going into Hollywood and that sort of thing. And we know that Taker's kind of on his way out as well. Going into WrestleMania, we know that he's done, presumably, anyways. But what if they did something almost like they did with Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair, right? Where Shawn Michaels ended Ric Flair's career, and Undertaker is kind of like wobbly, and he's pretty much done. And John Cena looks at him and he's like, "I'm sorry." Picks him up for the attitude adjustment, nails it. 1, 2, 3.
I'm sorry, Undertaker. I love you. Slam to the mat.
Kicks him in the groin.
Grabs a football, throws it in his groin. Football in the groin!
I think they kind of mismanaged Taker's career at the end here. You know what? It could have been done so much better if they would have swapped Brock Lesnar's spot and Roman Reigns' spot. If they would have had Roman Reigns break the streak, it would have meant more to Roman Reigns' career than it would Brock Lesnar. And if they would have had Brock Lesnar finish off Taker, it would have meant more to Brock Lesnar in his career. I think they could have switched it up. It would have been way better.
Yeah, possibly. Well, what can you do? And you know what? Another thing is, Undertaker's a company man, but I don't see that so much as being a good thing now. He doesn't really seem to stand up for himself very much. He just does whatever Vince tells him to do, like including when he fought Shane last year. Again, he should have just refused and said another year. Like, he's saying yes to way too many things, it seems. I think that's kind of a weak thing. When Austin refused to fight Lesnar back in the day, he shouldn't have left like he did. But I condone him for at least speaking up that, this is the wrong decision. I don't think it should be done this way. Why doesn't Undertaker speak his mind a little bit more? He's one of the top dogs of all time, and yet he's just a yes man. I don't know.
Well, he used to, but I mean, like when he's getting older, he's kind of just, I'll do this match, I'll take the paycheck, and I'll.
Yeah, it's too bad. I don't know. But that was WrestleMania 33. What was your overall opinions, guys, before we rate the matches. What would you give it out of a 10? Rick, 10 out of 10. WrestleMania 33.
Give it a 5. Not bad, not great. It was okay for me.
What about you, Tyler?
I'd give it a 7.5. Better than last year's. Probably even better than 31. So, yeah, 7.5 sounds good.
James?
Give it a 6.8.
6.8, very nice. And believe it or not, I agree with you, Tyler. 7.5 out of 10. I actually said that a little while ago, a couple days ago. I gave it a 7.5. So it was better than last year's, in my opinion, as well. I was pleasantly surprised, and I was actually surprised with the Hardy Boys. You know, that was cool. I love surprises. Unlike the Royal Rumble this year, there was nothing but a Ty Dillinger entrance. So they kind of redeemed themselves with at least one surprise. That was pretty sweet. And there were some other good matches, too, that helped it out. So we're going to move over to the WrestleMania S&M. You heard that right, James. We have a WrestleMania S&M.
Crazy town.
My pick for best matches of the night. Number 1, I put AJ versus Shane. Number 2, 4-way ladder match that had the Hardys in it. And I also mentioned Seth versus Triple H and Neville's versus Aries. Those were my 4. I'd say those were my 4 favorite. I don't believe I'm missing anything on that. What do you think, Tyler?
How many are we counting? Is it? I'm just gonna go top 3.
Top 3?
Yeah.
Okay, go
I'm
ahead.
gonna say number 1, Seth versus Triple H. Number 2, AJ versus Shane. Number 3, Aries versus Neville.
Nice. Okay, James.
Number 1, I'm gonna have to agree with you, Eric. AJ versus Shane, which I can't believe I'm saying.
I know.
Because I thought that was a really ho-hum choice for AJ Styles for sure. I felt like, man, they could have done better with AJ Styles with, going into WrestleMania.
Corey Graves had to apologize on the internet. He had to eat crow. He thought it was a terrible idea.
Yeah.
And he said they tore the house down.
Yeah, and they really did. I mean, props to both of them, really. AJ Styles, carried it for sure.
Stone Cold too thought it was going to be garbage.
But yeah, no, it was good. And Shane, to his credit, held his own. Had some pretty weak looking knees. Oh my goodness. Paul Lazenby this week on Killing the Town just ripped Shane apart. Ripped him apart in regards to his quote unquote Muay Thai training. Anyways, AJ Styles defeats Shane McMahon. Yeah, I'm good with that one. That's number 1 for me. I would probably say number 2 is the ladder match, the tag team match.
Nice. Which we thought was going to be the worst.
And again, thought it was going to be terrible.
Oh my God! I told you that. We both said it. We wanted that to be on the kickoff.
Yeah.
But again, we didn't know the Hardys were going to be entered.
If it was Sans Hardys, yeah.
Well, wait
a
minute. I knew it was going to be the Hardys. Someone else on last week's podcast said, "No way, no way."
Well, okay, I'll take that. Yeah. Even honestly, up until they came out, I really didn't think they were coming out. Really,
No,
I was very surprised. And then 3, probably Seth Rollins and Triple H. I thought that was a really good match. Great ending.
Oh yeah, amazing ending.
Yeah, it started off a little slow, but it picked up, and I liked it a lot.
Probably actually the best ending to any match that night.
Yeah, I think so.
Storyline, drama-wise. Again, I had said it earlier. You weren't here, but I had said, good on Stephanie for being willing to take a bump. She did a great job there. And amazing acting on Triple H's part in regards to the way he looked down at his wife, and his face was quivering. He legitimately looked shocked. And he turned around, and it was perfect for Seth to get that pedigree and finish the match.
Oh, was he shocked? I thought he was really mad.
No. I think I was looking for it. I was like, is he furious at Seth because he's the one that did it, right? It was kind of a confusing scenario.
Yeah.
Imagine, put yourself in his shoes. Would you be like, what did I do? Or what did Seth just make me do? And it was, I don't know, he had such a mix of emotions in his face. I thought he did a really good job. It was a really...
Yeah, more of a mix. Yeah,
yeah,
a mix of emotions.
yeah,
he was overwhelmed.
Yeah,
overwhelming. Yeah, he looked like sad and mad, and there was rage. I don't know. It was just cool. Although rage and mad is the same thing. I don't know. I marked out for it. I thought it was good. Rick, what about you, man? What was your favorite matches?
Favorite matches in order. I actually thought the Seth Rollins Triple H match was the match of the night for me. because I didn't know what was going to happen going into that one. I thought it was going to be a short match. I thought maybe Samoa Joe would come in, but it was a pretty back and forth match, and I thought that was the best. Close second's got to be Shane O'Mac and AJ Styles. That match went back and forth, and that was another gooder too. Other than that, then probably the start of the show with Neville and Austin Aries. Those would be my top three.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, you mentioned it. Yeah, Samoa Joe nowhere to be seen in both the match with Seth and Triple H or Jericho and Kevin Owens. Wasn't utilized whatsoever.
That was really unfortunate.
Yeah. Worst matches. My picks. Number 1, Undertaker versus Roman Reigns. Give that a 1 out of 10. Absolutely brutal. Ambrose versus Corbin. Myself and I believe James both expected way better out of this match. Huge letdown. If that was on SmackDown, I'm not even sure if I would have thought that was a good match on SmackDown. It was nothing overly special. And number 3, I had trouble picking a number 3 for worst matches. Like there was kind of medium feel, but I put the Battle Royal, Mojo Rawley winning that. Thumbs down. Braun Strowman and Big Show getting eliminated at the start. Thumbs down. I'm not a Sami Zayn fan, but it was logical for him to win it based on previous storylines. He gets eliminated almost right after Braun Strowman and Big Show. And the last 3 guys, Jinder Mahal, Mojo Rawley, and that guy from NXT.
What was his name, Tyler?
Oh, the Beast of Belfast, Killian Dane.
It just didn't really make sense. Thank you, The Mind, by the way. So that was my worst matches. Tyler, what about you?
Top 3 worst matches. Number 1, probably Undertaker and Roman Reigns. It was bad. I kind of wish Undertaker would have retired after 20-0. These last few have kind of been a waste. So, number 2, Goldberg versus Lesnar. I don't really like Lesnar actually. He kind of bores me in matches. So, and number 3 was the Women's Fatal 4-Way.
Yeah,
short, unexpected endings, unexpected eliminations. Bayley didn't even do her finisher, which is fine, I guess, but. Yeah, top 3 worst matches.
Cool. James?
I agree. Reigns, Undertaker, probably the worst of the night. I'd say Fatal 4-Way was number 2. Made no sense really even have 4 of them in there. Nia Jax and Sasha Banks both got eliminated within probably under 5 minutes. And Sasha Banks, there were all these teases of her either turning heel or there being some kind of shenanigans, and nothing at all. And then so under 5 minutes, and it essentially turned into a one-on-one match between Bayley and Charlotte, and then Bayley gets the win. Whatever, didn't make any sense to me. And then number 3, that's a tough one. Probably the Battle Royal, I would say.
See, it's a good thing that we're having trouble finding worst, like a number 3 at least. But yeah.
One match that, getting back to matches that kind of disappointed, Jericho Kevin Owens was not a very good match at all.
Yeah,
that one
we
was
agreed.
disappointing.
It was rushed and it was a strange ending. And
there were a few strange endings throughout the night.
Strange endemania.
Wrestlemania, it's strange.
Okay.
Rick, worst matches?
Worst ones for me, obviously, Taker Reigns is on the top of that list. Second one for me, I'd actually put the Orton and Bray Wyatt match as the second worst match for me, because all that other stuff was just the whole schematics on the mat there. It took away from the match for me.
You didn't love the worms all over the ring?
No, that was terrible. I want to watch a match. I don't want to watch a bunch of crap all over the mat.
I agree.
And then the third worst, I'd probably put a women's match, but I'd go with the SmackDown match as being the worst, just because I thought the Raw had a few more spots. Charlotte doing that twisting corkscrew on the outside there, I thought was pretty impressive. So for me, those would be my top 3 worst.
Cool.
Right on. Well, that leads us into our pick for the best segment of the night. Now, there wasn't a lot of segments. I looked it over, and essentially the segments were all New Day. So my number 1 pick for best segment, you guys will probably all agree with this, but the second New Day segment where they announced, of course, the surprise inclusion of the 4th team into the 3-way tag team ladder match. So they're basically somewhat swerving the crowd into thinking that it would be them, but instead allowing the Hardy Boys to come out and surprise everyone. That was wicked. I loved that. You could argue that's not a segment, but it kind of is. I thought it was cool. It was actually a cool New Day thing. What's your thoughts, Tyler?
I'll call a segment of the night as being the announcement of Jim Ross back to announce Raw, announce Undertaker's match. Again, not really a segment, but it was a non-wrestling match. It's kind of an in-between thing.
The crowd should have popped more for that. They did not.
Well, it was in the end. It was kind of an old man walking down a long ramp, so wasn't all that interesting, I suppose.
He made it. He walked further than what Sasha Banks had to do.
Sasha Banks just got in the back of a car.
Yeah,
Yeah. What was weird is that, and I don't know, maybe I just missed it. You guys can correct me, maybe, but they were kind of like they had a backstage, or they were showing the kind of like the recap of the Reigns Taker feud, like the 3-week feud that they had going into WrestleMania, and then all of a sudden they basically just cut back to the ring, and JR was like pretty much at the bottom of the ramp already. Like they had already announced him, I guess.
Oh yeah.
He just basically just showed up. It was.
And you hate it when they do this. They did this to Jericho once too, and you pointed out in a previous podcast where Jericho had made his amazing entrance, and then they cut the commercial break, and Jericho was in the ring.
I will correct you because you heard the beginning of his theme music, and he walked down the ring.
The whole ramp?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Maybe they cut a little bit of the walking part because the walking probably took a long time, but pretty sure they announced him because I remember hearing the beginning of his entrance song, the Sooner
Boomer Sooner or
Boomer
whatever.
Sooner, whatever it is.
Oh, I must have zoned out.
Well,
Then.
what was your favorite segment, James?
My favorite segment, if we're gonna call the New Day segment there, when they announced the Hardys, I'd go with that one for sure. You're right, there really weren't many segments. I was pleasantly surprised.
There weren't any backstage rock talk for 20-minute segments.
Gosh. Well, I expected a lot of garbage stuff from the New Day, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, they didn't have a lot of celebrity
And no, they
talking.
basically talked the first time. Then they talked, when they announced the Hardys, and then they came out near the end there to announce the attendance record. And that was it.
Yeah, what
That
about
was
you,
all you
Rick?
I'd have to go with the Hardys coming out. That was the best and I guess only.
Yeah. As for worst segment, it would be another New Day one. So it was their first segment. That's when they came out dressed up in, and I had to look this up because I do not follow this stuff whatsoever. I don't know if you guys noticed, but they actually came dressed up in Final Fantasy 14 cosplay attire.
I did not know that.
Yeah, when they came out, like when Kofi was riding that ice cream bike, and there was that bird head on the front, that yellow bird head on the front of the cart, and they all had like these lightsabers in their hands and whatnot. So I looked it up. Time to get nerdy. According to the website www.polygon.com, I quote, Big E sported the robe and katana of the MMO's samurai class, while Xavier Woods wore the gauntlets and shin guards of the monk. Kofi Kingston's boots and rapier, I don't know how you spell it, R-A-P-I-E-R.
Yeah, rapier.
Paid tribute to the Red Mage, and he pedaled to the ring on an ice cream cart adorned with Muggles and Chocobos.
Chocobo.
Do you know anything about this, Tyler?
Yeah, because I was listening to them and not talk about it during WrestleMania. They
Oh.
mentioned it on the show.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, James, did you hear it? Because I didn't.
I actually thought that Xavier Woods was being like Goku from like Dragon Ball.
Well, they came out as Dragon Ball Z last year.
Oh,
Yeah, last year.
oh.
Like, yeah.
oh yeah, you're right. Anyways,
Tyler, when New Day comes out, we often don't listen to much they say.
It wasn't New Day who said it. It was the announcers who said
Oh,
it. It was your Corey Graves and...
We clearly weren't listening. But anyways, yeah, I guess New Day, they're going for the nerd shtick, and that's what they were going after. I thought it was really goofy. I didn't like it. That was kind of what I was worried about when they were announced to be the hosts of WrestleMania. Wasn't my thing. What do you think, Rick? Was that your... did you catch up on any of that, or I didn't?
No, I didn't catch it at all. Not a big Final Fantasy fan, so yeah, it was cool, I guess. Yeah, come on dressed up, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
dress up with like whatever you want.
My worst
Yep.
segment of the night. Anyways, that was WrestleMania 33. On to next year.
34.
WrestleMania 34.
Wonder what the symbol's gonna be.
I hear it's going to be in
It's in New Orleans again.
New Orleans again. How many times have they had Mania in New Orleans?
Twice.
Twice.
This will be
Twice
two.
so far?
But twice in like 4 years.
That's quite
So-
often.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, I was kind of surprised when I read that they were going to be at the is it the Superdome again or somewhere else?
Yeah, Superdome's right.
Superdome, yeah.
Mercedes Superdome. Mercedes-Benz Superdome.
Oh yeah.
I
The Silverdome, brother.
Why are they choosing this location over and over?
I don't know. All right, and with that, we'd just like to thank Rick. He's Rick for being on the show again this week. He's got to take off for the evening, but yeah, buddy, thanks a lot for being with us. Thanks for your insight on WrestleMania, and yeah, we look forward to having you again real soon.
No problem, guys. Thanks for having me. Awesome time.
Thanks, Rick. Have yourself a good one.
See you, Rick.
Yeah, take it easy.
All right. Well, that leads us into Raw territory. We're going to do the review/recap of the April 3rd, 2017 edition of Monday Night Raw. The Raw after WrestleMania. That crowd was crazy.
Yeah, the crowd lived up to the standards for a Raw after WrestleMania. It was insane.
Craziest crowd actually I've ever seen, probably ever. They were nuts throughout the whole show. So the show basically started off recapping, of course, Undertaker and Roman Reigns match, and which led to a Roman Reigns segment to start the show. So there were a lot of chants in the crowd for this Raw when Roman was out. A lot of swearing, a lot of "F you Roman" chants, a lot of delete chants, you suck chants, asshole chants, Roman sucks chants, shut the F up chants, and go away chants. Lots. That they went at least 5 minutes. Roman kept lifting up his arm. Every time he would lift up his arm to speak into the mic, the crowd would boo. He'd lower the mic, wouldn't say a thing. Went on for minutes, and it finally led to Roman saying, "This is my yard," dropping the mic, walking out with a smug look on his face, with the crowd booing the crap out of him while he walked out.
And also what was kind of crazy about all that, which was just insane, was that when Raw first started, right after they showed like the recap of the Reigns and Taker match from WrestleMania, the crowd just chanted Undertaker for, it must have been 3-4 minutes straight. It's like, Undertaker, Undertaker, clap, 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 clap.
And then they also did a thank you taker as well.
Then they did a thank you taker as well. But it just went on and on and on. Like it was, and they just like they were just so full of energy through the whole time. Like it just didn't let up until Roman Reigns' music came, and then the boos. Like there was just a wave of boos. So, anyways, pretty crazy opening segment for sure. Going into the first match of the evening, we have the Club, or the Good Brothers, as I've heard them called, Gallows and Anderson, getting their rematch against the Hardy Boys, who made their triumphant return to WWE the night before at WrestleMania. Again, big surprise. I expected them to actually show up on Raw. I did not expect them to show up on WrestleMania. So, anyways, I'm happy either way. So yeah, so basically the match started with the with Jeff versus Carl Anderson. Matt basically was left for later there. Tons of delete chants, eh?
Oh yeah.
I like how that kind of is translated over. Like it just shows that he wasn't like obviously this little shtick of his wasn't just limited to Impact Wrestling. Obviously through social media and everything, it caught on like with the bigger crowd.
It's good that he took the risk, the risk of that character, the Broken Matt Hardy character. It was a good call on Matt's part.
Yeah, Impact Wrestling was really foolish for letting these guys go and taking so long to lowball them.
Well, I thought the Hardy Boys had decided to leave on their own. No, like
I think it was one of those things where their contract was up,
right.
And normally, like when you know the contract's coming up, you'd give ample time to give some sort of an offer, saying, "Hey, we still want you around. We definitely want to give you X amount of money." But I think they waited till like literally a day before the contract was supposed to run out, and then like Tyler said, lowballed them. The day before the contract was up. So it's like, well, do you really respect us? So they decided to just walk away.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Michael Cole had mentioned during the match that it had been 9 years since the Hardys had been in the WWE. I didn't know it was that long.
I don't think so. Like the night before, actually, they said it'd been 7 years since they'd been at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So I think that's wrong.
I either misheard it or he made an error, but I don't know. I thought he said 9, and I was like, that doesn't seem right.
I think he's meant 9 years since they've teamed together.
Oh, is that what he meant?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, because Jeff was on his own,
That's right, 'cause
right?
they
Jeff
were
was
on
on
their
his
own,
own, and Matt
yeah,
was on their
that's
own for a while.
true.
They
Oh,
even
so
fought
true.
each other at WrestleMania 25.
So I misunderstood. Okay, that's what he meant. So there was a few moves there that they were bringing back. There was the side effect by Matt Hardy to Carl Anderson. Matt tried for an early twist of fate with no success. Gallows with a monster. I call it the side kick. It's more of a super kick, I guess. I don't know if Gallows has a name for that. That stiff.
The running big kick?
The one where he does it. Gallows literally does the side super kick to people.
Oh, yeah. Just like a
Crescent kick.
kind
Crescent
of.
kick.
Well,
Yeah.
not quite. A little different. Yeah.
Jeff did the double leg drop into Gallows' crotch. I couldn't remember the name of that move. The one he's done.
Does he have a name for it?
I don't know.
The Sparkler.
I don't know. The crowd always cheers for it.
Yeah.
Jeff jump off the steps onto Gallows by the barricade, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, he did a poacher in motion sans Matt Hardy.
Anderson did a big boot into Jeff's head while Jeff was on Carl Anderson's shoulders. They got the 2 count with no success on that one.
That was one of their that's one of their signature moves called Boot of Doom.
Is that what they called the
Boot of Doom?
Oh, I've seen it before, but I didn't realize it had a name.
Yeah.
Oh.
Then Jeff landed the twist of fate on the Gallows. Matt got the second twist of fate on the Gallows. Jeff landed the Swanton bomb, and Matt got the 3 count, got the pin. Overall, pretty good match. I was really excited to see the Hardy Boys back on Raw. I liked it.
Yeah, me too.
I think the two teams meshed well. They had some good chemistry together.
Agreed.
I look forward to the new
The new era?
new era. Sure, new era of old eras.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're trying to say. Next up, Mustafa Ali versus Neville. What'd you think about this one, James?
Well, the first time I watched it, I actually fell asleep.
Really?
Yeah.
It was actually a really good match.
Yeah. Well, no, it was a pretty good match. Yeah. And then even last night, I watched it for the second time, and I thought it was all right overall.
Yeah, like Mustafa Ali. He's got some pretty crazy aerial moves.
Yeah. I don't really know much about him.
Yeah, he does he does this pretty neat kind of thing where he does like I think through the ropes, and then kind of he can do like a swinging neck breaker kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Neville was just too much for him.
Yeah, exactly. Crowd was really vocal during this match too, which they were pretty much throughout the night. Monster clothesline to Ali for the 2 count there from Neville. And then then there was the beach ball mania chants going on in the crowd. It's crazy. And then Michael Cole broke the full fourth wall and explained what was going on. So it was like kind of speaking to us.
Well, no, it was weird. I mentioned the fourth wall. I'm not sure if that's the correct term, but I don't think announcers normally will repeat what the crowd is saying especially if it's not related to wrestling whatsoever. So everyone was saying Beach Ball Mania. I couldn't make out what they were saying. And then Michael Cole explains, in case you guys are wondering, the crowd is chanting Beach Ball Mania. There's two large balls in the crowd right now that the crowd is passing amongst each other. I'm like, what is this? I'd never heard a wrestling announcer describe something like this before.
They've done that before, but only on these post WrestleMania Raws, where they kind of mention beforehand that this is a crowd that's from all over the world, all corners of the WWE universe.
Okay.
They might cheer the bad guys and boo the good guys. It's a crazy crowd.
What do they call it? Weirdo Land or Bizarro?
But they're allowed to use their freedom of speech. So
I hate that Bizarro World thing because I think it was JBL that started that, and it was when they were trying to hide that the crowd's not allowed to cheer for the heels. So he was like, "This is Bizarro World." Like I think he called Toronto that.
Yeah, I think because it was I think they may have done that like way back when. Like Shawn Michaels was fighting Christian in Canada, and even though Christian was the bad guy and Shawn Michaels was the good guy, they were booing the hell out of Shawn Michaels and cheering the hell out of Christian.
I could see that. Yeah. So I don't know. I just found it very unusual, but I enjoyed it regardless. The crowd's having a good time. Mustafa Ali with an amazing springboard Spanish fly, as they called it. Onto Neville, to the mat from the top turnbuckle. The crowd went absolutely nuts for this. Mustafa Ali had a monster DDT to Neville. 2 count, but Neville got his foot up on the rope. Ali missed the inverted 450. Neville teased he was going to do the red arrow. Bails and puts him in the rings of Saturn Ali instead. Just because the crowd wanted to see the red arrow. Classic Neville. Pulled heel. I'm not going to give you guys what you want. Instead, he puts him in a submission for the win. Great match. I liked it.
I like that they call it the Rings of Saturn. I don't think it's quite the Rings of Saturn, but I like it because this is a move I kind of invented way back in the day. I was thinking, what happened if they were to do a Rings of Saturn and a cross face together, and that's what this move is.
It's actually true. He did kind of almost invent this move. So Neville, I think, somehow like peered into Tyler's mind's eye and stole the move.
This is kind of creepy.
Yeah. So, but I do actually like but kind of getting away from that. But even though it's not truly like the Rings of Saturn, I like the fact that they call it the Rings of Saturn.
Yeah, because I don't think
think
it was named.
Saturn.
It was named after Saturn. That's why I call it the Rings of Saturn. Otherwise, it's just kind of a double arm hold.
Yeah,
so no one really gave it a name yet.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, I'm pretty sure it's probably a move that was created in Japan or maybe Mexico,
possibly.
But but the Rings of Saturn, just kind of a throwback to Perry Saturn. I like it. Yeah. So yeah, sweet, good match for sure. One I will say about Neville, even though I really really enjoy him, I do not like the fact that he chooses not to wear the belt.
Well, I know you have a real problem with this, but people that wear belts around waists are goofballs.
It's not true.
Next segment was good old Vince McMahon walking out of a black limo. Reminded me of Macho Man coming out of a limo. What was it, in WCW? That was old school.
Could have been.
That's an old school one. Next up, lots of mentions about Bleacher Report and ESPN coverage. More of this, James. We've been discussing this, how they're constantly referencing ESPN and Bleacher, among other sites. Thank you for releasing this information that this wrestler is going to be returning to the WWE, like when Kurt Angle was coming back. They thanked, I think it was ESPN or Bleacher.
One of those two.
Why don't they just announce it themselves on their own website as opposed to waiting for third parties to do so?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it shows that they're...
I think it gives them a little more credibility.
Yeah,
That other people are paying attention to them besides themselves.
Yeah, that's probably right.
I think we knew the answer to that. You're right, Tyler. It's kind of strange because coming from the company that has their own WWE network, they kind of seem like they're self-sufficient to a degree, but now they're okay with referencing other companies, but all good. So that leads us into the actual Vince McMahon segment. The crowd with super loud singing of his theme, "No Chance in Hell."
This crowd loves to sing.
Yeah, and I've heard that the crowds have sang "No Chance in Hell" before when Vince comes out. They have a blast doing it. It was pretty fun.
Vince looked like he was almost startled. He was like, "What are you doing?" And then he kind of realized it.
He
Nice.
loved it when he
kinda
realized
liked
it. He's in the ring, and the crowd just switches to Roman sucks chants to see how he'd react. And you hear Vince, "Well, if that's the way you feel, if that's the way you really feel," and that's all he says. I'm like, wow, he's not going to acknowledge it. He's not letting him win, and he just continues on. Vince thanks the fans for being the most passionate fans in the entire world. He also mentioned the Ultimate Thrill Ride, our favorite. Vince announced that they would be doing a Superstar Shakeup next week. So probably doing some trades, I'm assuming. Hopefully they're trading Reigns to some foreign company.
You guys don't like Ultimate Thrill Ride. I think this Superstar Shakeup is the new Ultimate Thrill Ride. They mentioned it a lot tonight. Last on Raw.
They're not saying the word trade anymore. I don't know. But they're not really doing all of the superstars, so yeah. I don't know how they're going to determine whether who's leaving where, and I don't know.
I don't know if it's going to be like an actual draft, or if they are just going to be making some trades, or flipping some coins.
It's hard to tell. I'm not sure.
I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out.
Superstar Shakeup.
Vince announced Steph would be out of action for some time, due to her falling, of course, through the table during WrestleMania. The crowd did massive yes chants after he announced this. Vince said the crowd was acting cruel, insensitive, and that they appeared to be bloodthirsty. Crowd just went more nuts when he said this, of course.
They like it.
Of course. And he says, "What's the matter with you?" Vince said it was time to announce a new general manager. Teddy Long's music hits.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. Teddy comes out. Michael Cole. Not this goof.
I love his dance. I love Teddy Long's dance.
I love Teddy Long's dance. When I heard he was being inducted into the Hall of Fame, I was just excited to see him dance at the Hall of Fame.
He did lots of dancing.
He did. It was great. Actually, Teddy's Hall of Fame moment was one of my favorites of the night. And Vince, I quote, "Teddy, stop dancing. It's not you." Teddy, "Well, my bad. Holla, holla, holla."
And he just danced his way out. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, and Vince kept announcing your new general manager, and no one would come out. So Vince apologized, stating this individual was a bit of a prima donna, and he basically had to announce Angle's name before Angle's music hit. It was just kind of humorous, I guess. Crowd went crazy. They started off with their welcome back chants, and Angle's quote, "I only have one thing to say. It's good to be back on Monday Night Raw. It's true. It's damn true."
I kind of thought it was kind of abrupt, actually, when he came down and he just basically got in the ring. He's like, "It's great to be here. Oh, it's true. It's damn true." Dun, 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 dun. Dun.
It was quick. It was very quick.
Yeah, short and sweet, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, it's good to see Kurt Angle back for sure. I mean, we knew that was coming, but to actually see it kind of happening was nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like Kurt Angle coming out and them doing the "You Suck" during his song.
Yeah.
He kind of it's kind of weird seeing him like it.
He relishes in it.
He relishes in it now, but back when he was wrestling, he didn't really acknowledge it, and then he didn't really like it either.
Mm-hmm.
But now to see him like it, it's kind of strange.
It's a term of endearment.
Yeah. So next up was the New Day versus the Revival. So I guess that started off Tyler, with a New Day open challenge.
Yeah, they were basically opening an open challenge to any tag team out there, and out comes Dash and Dawson, the Revival.
The Revival. Yeah. What do you think of this match?
This was good. I was kind of surprised to see the Revival on Raw. I kind of thought they kind of fit SmackDown a bit more, but this was a pretty good match.
I actually agree with you. I would have seen him a little bit more on SmackDown. Before they even came out, New Day came out and they had two of them, Xavier and I think was it Kofi had it? Yeah, they had shoulder pads on and ice cream cones for spikes, and Corey Graves called them the Legion of Dumb.
I noticed those spikes. I didn't see any ice cream, but they were multicolored spikes.
Yeah. Some of them were ice cream cones, so I don't know. So yeah, they did their open challenge. Revival's music hits. Crowd went nuts.
They love anything NXT. So.
Yeah, and Corey goes, "Shut up, Saxton. This isn't about popsicles and bootios. This is about smashing faces and limbs. This is top guy business."
No flips, just fists.
You got it. No flips, just fists. So the crowd did a lot of yeah chants during their music, because there's a lot of that country rock kind of yas going on in that.
I thought they were kind of singing the theme,
their
song.
Yeah.
Is that how their song goes?
Yeah, like yeah.
Oh, because I can never understand what they're saying because the crowd is singing. I never understand them.
Yeah, they were kind of taking over there. The announcers continued to reference the Revival cutting the ring in half and isolating particular parts of the body.
Yeah, kind of old school tag teams.
Yeah.
Enforcers.
They're really focusing on that. I guess they're trying to ingrain that is their gimmick, right?
Yeah, they're old school.
Yeah, agreed. Xavier Woods did a cartwheel into the Shatter Machine. I guess that's Revival's move.
Yeah, their finishing move, a flapjack into almost like a reverse code breaker or
I do like that name, the Shatter Machine.
Cool. Shatter Machine's cool.
It sounds pretty cool. Revival, of course, got the win. I shouldn't say of course. When you think of it, New Day really put them over here. They did them
Yeah, they ended up. Biggie was going for that spear through the middle ropes, and Dawson ducked out of the way, and Biggie just went flying through the ropes and almost like a suicide dive into nothing.
Yeah, agreed. At this stage, in my opinion, right at this moment, both teams were basically faces. But after the match, the Revival continued to attack Kofi Kingston, attacking his ankle. After the match had ended, in my opinion, pretty much solidifying them as a heel team.
Yeah, I think they were a face because of the crowd that they were at, but the tradition going forward, I'm pretty sure they're going to be heels.
Agreed. Okay. Next up was the Kurt Angle and Enzo and Cass segment backstage. So Enzo and Cass were complaining that the Hardys had the belts and they didn't, essentially.
This is going to be, when you get to the Raw S&M moment, this is going to be the segment of the night.
The worst one or the best? Best one.
The best one.
You like this one. I remember you saying this. Kurt ended up putting them in a number one contenders match with Sheamus and Cesaro. I found it to be a pretty funny segment. Angle took everything Enzo said literally and acted essentially like the most white guy on the planet.
It was great.
Yeah, it was really funny.
Answering their questions quite literally.
It was. And the segment ended with Angle saying, "No, that's not how you spell soft." Isn't that SAW?
Well, they're doing their shtick. I'm bona fide stud and a certified G, and
yeah.
You can't teach that. And Angle responds, "Not at any college I've heard of." And he says, and then he goes saying, "This is Big Cass, and he's 7 foot tall." And he goes, "And you can't teach that?" And he's like, "No, I don't think you can." And he's like, "Bada boom, real guys in the room. How you doing?" And Angle responds, "Well, I got in the Hall of Fame, and I'm now the general manager of Raw. How are you doing?"
"I'm doing very well. How are you?" And so it's like,
And when Big Cass spells out SAWFT, Swaft,
Yeah.
he kind of digs it. And then when they walk in the room, he kind of has this puzzled look on his face.
Yeah.
With that's not how you spell soft. Great segment.
Yeah, it was good. I agree. Next up was the incredible match of Bailey, Sasha Banks, and Dana Brooke versus Emma, Nia Jax, and Charlotte. So I should say the returning Emma. She hasn't wrestled on Raw. Well,
This is the return of Emma.
yeah, Emma's
the return
back.
of Emma from Emelina.
Yeah, actually, I gotta say I didn't mind it for Emma. I didn't mind the Emma gimmick the way she came back.
No, I like it.
I like it too. She's kind of badass,
Yeah,
actually.
she's kind of a badass. Only there's a couple of problems with this match, probably in particular. It's kind of so Dana gets beat up by Charlotte, and now she's just kind of all of a sudden teaming with Bailey, and now they're kind of did they even hug? I think they might have hugged.
It's so dumb. It reminds me of like the Seth Rollins turn too.
Yeah,
it's just like
it's kind of a pity heel. It's kind of a pity face turn.
yeah, it's the worst way to turn face. Absolutely, I agree
And then
with
the
you.
one thing about Emma I'm not crazy about is that she kind of looks like she's gonna be she's kind of trying to act tough.
Yeah.
But then you can kind of see her smile, like she's almost faking tough.
Well, it's
So
weird.
She's almost like laughing, like she's not really the greatest actress.
She's kind of a hybrid now of what she was supposed to be and what she was. She's kind of like still really pretty, but she's still badass. I don't know.
Well, yeah, because like even her like theme song, it has a.
Oh, that was the goofy one with.
Yeah, when then she did the hand dance with.
I hated
Santino.
that so much.
Yeah, that was bad, and it was dumb.
But they kind of twist it.
And then they kind of twisted, and they kind of turned it dark.
Yeah, that was neat.
That's good. I like that.
She's kind of like saying, yeah, it's neat. She's kind of making fun of her past gimmick, but not forgetting it.
Yeah.
So that was neat. So when Emma came out, she did get quite an ovation. She stood on the announcer's table, and she threw her vest onto the guys behind her, walked down the ramp, and yelled that it was all about her. I noted that I didn't know her entrance music starts with the original Goofy music. Well, you and I just discussed it. I guess she's just kind of going for that hybrid feel. So I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Cole said that she was mad that Byron wouldn't look at her at the table. Byron said that Emma made him nervous, and Saxton said, "Saxton, you had nightmares watching Finding Nemo."
Oh wow.
I know. More of the Saxton stuff. During the match, I noted, why is Bailey rolling around on Emma like a crazy person?
That's a thing she did in NXT. That's a move. That's her move. That's a move.
It's like a dirty wrestling move. You know, when wrestlers kind of rotate on top of each other's bodies like that?
Yeah, it was kind of like when you do like kind of that amateur style wrestling, but you're not really she's not really grabbing a hold or anything after. She kind of just.
It looked a lot messier than the amateur style. That's why I was a little confused.
And so was Nia Jax the partner? Nia Jax and Charlotte, right?
Bailey was rolling around on Emma on that stage.
On Emma.
Yeah,
okay.
I was on Emma.
I guess she probably better she did it on Emma than Nia Jax. She probably got it bounced around and stuff. I mean, that's not very nice.
Terrible.
That's not very good. That's poor taste, but we'll keep it in.
Agreed. Dana and Bailey did a double drop kick to Nia. Missed her, and Nia flung herself out of the ring.
I think Corey Graves mentioned that. I think you kind of nicked her.
Yeah, he said, well, it was a glancing blow. You
were trying to save it because it looked terrible.
Yeah, it did look very terrible.
Thank you, Dana.
Yeah. Quote from Graves, Bailey has the championship, and Dana has someone that wants to hang out with her again.
That's a good Graves. That's good for Graves.
And the match ended with Charlotte pushing Emma and Nia. So Nia wouldn't have any of it and ended up destroying Charlotte. So that's what I was mentioning earlier when we were discussing WrestleMania 33. Maybe they're pushing Nia as face. I don't know. It's a little little fast if you ask me. But
Well, that's actually kind of interesting because Charlotte's almost getting buried. I think she took the fall in this match.
okay,
She lost at WrestleMania. She lost the match before WrestleMania, aka Sunday Night Raw,
yeah.
and now she loses this match, and then she gets beat up by Nia Jax. So, what is going on? Is this more pity face turns or?
Hard to say. Next up was the Kurt Angle and Sami Zayn segment. Sami was sucking up to Angle, stating he'd like to have a good relationship with him. Angle said Sami has the 3 eyes. Zayn was warning Angle that the McMahons don't like him and that him going over to SmackDown would not be a good idea, as Shane is a McMahon. Jinder Mahal interrupted, pissing off Gronk in the... Jinder Mahal was interrupting him because he was upset that Gronk was in the Royal Rumble period. And Angle did the obvious.
Battle Royal.
Oh, my apologies. The Battle Royal. Thank you.
Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Thank you.
4th annual.
4th annual. Thank you. And an Angle, of course, did the obvious GM role and put Zayn versus Mahal in a match tonight. Couldn't wait for that one.
This was kind of another funny segment because Sami Zayn was kind of rambling, and you could notice Angle kind of like
Rolling his eyes.
kind of motioning Sami Zayn to get on with it, and then Zayn kind of leaves for a second, and Angle's kind of like, whew, and then he kind of comes back, and Angle's a little peeved off at him.
So Zayn is adopting the annoying character gimmick.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. So next up was the Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman segment. Heyman rubbing in essentially that Lesnar beat Goldberg at WrestleMania 33 in the form of a children's bedtime story. Heyman announced that they wouldn't be seeing Goldberg around here anymore. Crowd popped, did yes chants, and thank you Brock chants.
Thank you, Brock.
Yeah, for getting rid of Goldberg. Yeah, they were completely anti-Goldberg. Like we've discussed this already tonight. Very strange. I agree with you. It's just completely turned on him. Heyman announced that Brock is now looking for new challenges and new challengers, which was kind of interesting, actually. Heyman threw out Seth's name, threw out Matt Hardy's name, Jeff Hardy's name. Didn't see that coming. Crowd cheered way more for Matt. I noted Jeff, but I believe it was for Matt. The crowd was really popped for Matt. And Brock Lesnar is the disruptor of the status quo, is what Paul Heyman stated. Interesting.
Another big word for Heyman to use.
Yeah.
Those big words.
It makes you wonder if he kind of researches certain things before he comes out.
Word of the day, toilet paper.
Heyman said because only 2 people have beaten The Undertaker at WrestleMania, this would logically mean then that Lesnar would need to face Reigns. The crowd booed. We want Balor chants came from the crowd. Obviously, the crowd knew who they wanted Lesnar to face, I guess. Another quote from Paul Heyman. If Roman Reigns is the big dog, then Brock Lesnar is animal cruelty. Heyman said that... What was that?
I like that line, the animal cruelty line.
I liked it too. Heyman said that they were going to do something special for the crowd tonight. Strowman's music hit. Strowman basically said that Lesnar has his attention. Lesnar laid the belt down and challenged him to do something about it. Strowman just leaves the ring and the crowd did bullshit chants. It
did bullshit chants and I think pussy chants as well.
Really?
Yeah, I heard pussy chants.
Wow, interesting.
This is kind of strange because they're kind of, I don't know, Braun...
He's left the ring once already with The Undertaker.
Yeah, he backed down from Taker. He backed down from, I think, Big Show maybe, before the 4th annual Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Yeah.
And now he's backing down from Brock Lesnar. So I'm not really sure what they're doing with Braun Strowman at this point.
It's kind of ruining the kind of like the mystique or the just showing like how tough he is, right?
Agreed.
Well, like it's just strange that he does keep backing away. It is kind of a heel thing, but it's kind of a like for a guy that size to play kind of like the coward.
It was one thing when Ric Flair would back away from Sting, and Triple H would back away from Goldberg, but Braun Strowman is bigger than the Undertaker, bigger than the Big Show.
That's what I'm saying. He's
bigger
huge,
than
right?
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, he's way bigger than Brock Lesnar. Like Brock Lesnar, they billed him at WrestleMania at 295, right?
That's right.
Who did they bill at 295?
Lesnar.
295
They
pounds?
said he was 290. That's what Paul Heyman said. Weighing in at
He
290.
does not weigh 295. There's no way.
He's billed at it.
That's ridiculous.
And no, it's true, right?
Well, think of it. When he was in the UFC, you can't go over 265. There's no way he's at 295.
No, he's probably not 295. But
Whopper Wednesday.
Jeez.
but anyways, they built. So he's built at 295, and what's his face there?
Braun Strowman.
Braun Strowman, of course, just who we're talking about.
Strowman.
He's like almost at 400. They say he's almost 400 pounds.
Yeah, 385. Right?
385 or something. Like so, almost 100 more pounds, and he's backing away from Lesnar. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
Do you think he actually weighs 385?
I doubt it.
Yeah,
We
I'd
got-
say so.
Think of how much 385 pounds is.
It's a lot of potatoes.
It's huge. It's huge.
He's a big guy, so I wouldn't doubt it.
Well, WWE has been guilty of.
They do that all the time.
Stretching
to build
people's
them
heights.
bigger or smaller than
They
see
used to.
fit.
At one point, I believe they were stating the Undertaker was 7 feet tall, and
Well, sometimes he's 6'10", sometimes he's 6'11", sometimes he's 7 feet. We understand how WWE can.
yeah, they did the same thing with Sid. And
They
Sid
do it
was
now even with
6'10".
Big Cass. They say he's like I think they say he's like he's 7 foot tall, right?
Yeah,
But he's actually only like 6'10".
yeah. They often round up a couple inches.
Yep.
So, and
All
I think
good.
they did the same thing by far with Andre the Giant as well.
Oh,
they,
for
they
sure.
over-exaggerated him.
I don't think he was 7'4". He was probably 7 feet,
Actually,
maybe.
I think he's 7'3", but they were saying more than that. I don't recall how high they were telling.
I think 7'5" might have been the highest they ever said.
Okay. And then Great Khali, I think, as well. They exaggerated a little bit with him as well. So, all right, that leads us into Chris Jericho's segment with Charlie backstage.
Charlie Caruso.
Charlie Caruso.
What's up, Charlie?
So Jericho was being, I don't know, pretty hilarious. He did mention Beach Ball Mania is running wild, brother. And named a whole bunch of countries. Friends of Jericho. Steer me on, man!
He's like the Amigos of Jericho in Japan. The
Whatever it is, friends in Jericho.
Hukadomos. I'm not sure what.
He was on
Japanese.
fire, but he was going so fast I couldn't even write down everything he was saying.
No, he was whipping through a lot.
What did you think of his segment?
That was good.
It was funny, eh?
Yeah.
You referenced KO's tip of his finger being on the ropes at WrestleMania.
Thank you for clarifying. It was the tip of his finger.
Ah!
Wow.
Yikes.
Wow. And then he says, you know what happens? Tip of Kevin Owens' finger. You know what happens when you help Kevin Owens beat Chris Jericho at WrestleMania? Tip of Kevin Owens' finger.
You just made the list.
Thank you, James. Kevin Owens then attacks Chris Jericho. As soon as Jericho started to defend himself, of course, Samoa Joe started beating on Jericho too. So
First time we saw
KO.
Samoa Joe in a while.
Here's
Yeah.
Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe.
Would he miss his flight or
Hello,
slept in?
hello, Joe.
Joey Jojo.
Oh no, Joey Jojo Shapadoo.
Joey Jojo Jr. Shabadoo.
Hello, Joe. Lisa got braces.
Oh man.
And then Kevin Owens powerbomb Jericho. What it looked like to be on a cement floor, possibly through a table.
I think it was like with a catering table or something maybe.
Yeah,
I think he got some fruit cups on him maybe.
some special sauce, a little bit of ketchup
Oh.
and mustard.
Then a Claire fell on me.
And Claire starts eating donuts on the ground.
He's unconscious.
Eat it in, man.
It fell in the garbage. He picks it out.
Oh God! It was on top.
You see an eclair in the receptacle, and you think to yourself, "What the hell? I'll just eat some trash."
So, we've referenced Frasier, Metallica, and now Seinfeld.
Yep.
Yeah, we've talked about Frasier
Oh, on past podcasts.
On past podcasts, there was a Frasier reference at one point.
because of Roz. What was it?
Oh, I don't remember. I don't even remember why, but
I don't know. Rossi.
oh, Rossi, that's right. Well, when Sting was on Jim Ross's podcast like last year or whatever, or a long time ago, I guess back in the day, Jim Ross, I'm not sure if just Sting called him this or if he was actually known as this, but Sting kept calling him Rossi.
Oh yeah. Well, back anyway, when he was working for WCW, they never called him JR. Probably.
It's true.
They did not.
No.
So for some reason, I got Roz out of Rossi.
Okay.
And then
it was like
Frasier Crane was brought up.
a Frasier reference.
Just like DDP has a couple of nicknames. When Scott Hall's Scott Hall's talking about DDP, he calls him Dally a lot.
That's
What?
true, Dahlia.
Oh,
And Scott Hall
yeah.
refers to him as Dahlia. Toss salads and scrambled eggs. What's that? That's the song.
That's a song for
That's the Frasier
Frasier.
song at the end there.
I didn't think
You know that's actually Kelsey Grammer singing the song.
Yeah, I've known that. I've figured it out a long time
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
Maybe I
Anyways.
hear the blues are calling.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. I
Yeah.
couldn't remember the rest of the song. Yeah.
So next up was a Kurt Angle and Seth Rollins segment. Essentially, Kurt told Seth that Jericho is in no condition to be his partner tonight, and I guess that would
In the
leave
tag match between
Seth Rollins and Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens.
I see.
You're clarifying.
Yep, just to make sure, because I don't know if we ever mentioned that was a match going into tonight.
Maybe it was assumed. Well, it was probably announced by a general manager, or maybe just by the announcers during commercial break.
No, it wasn't. It was definitely announced on the show. I think what he's getting at is we
never talked about it on the
you
show
never
until
once
now.
mentioned it that it was going to be a match. So.
Meh.
Whatevs.
Whatevs. Hey, it was Raw after WrestleMania. Anything could happen.
Oopsie.
So, Enzo and Cass versus Cesaro and Sheamus. That was the next match. What was your thoughts, Tyler?
This was a good match. I liked it a lot. I like Enzo when he talks, but I like it when he gets beat up more.
Yeah, there was
And
a
he
lot
got
of
beat up.
Cesaro singing in the crowd. Did you make out what they were saying?
Oh yeah, they're going da 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 Sheamus and Cesaro. Da, 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 da,
That's what
da,
they were
da,
saying?
Sheamus and Cesaro. Yeah, and they were doing the Fandango fingers.
Ugh. Fandango. Of course.
Rears his ugly head.
So Sheamus threw Enzo off the top turnbuckle into an uppercut by Cesaro for the win.
European uppercut.
Crowd was extremely happy that Sheamus and Cesaro won, as was I. And Sheamus's cut above his eye appears to have opened up slightly. He was bleeding all over again out of his cut, I noticed.
Oh, we got Hardwade.
Yes. What?
He started bleeding the hard way.
Oh, the hard way.
Yeah.
Essentially, Brock Lesnar to Randy Orton.
Correct.
Yes.
What's funny about this is that it wasn't too long ago where Sheamus was getting what they call, I don't know what they call it, X-Pac heat?
Sometimes, yes, they
referred to as X-Pac heat, where they're not cheering, they're not booing him because he's a heel and they boo heels. They were booing him because they didn't like him and they wanted him to leave.
just don't want to see him.
They just don't want to see him. And now they're cheering him like crazy. They like him a lot.
Well, I mean,
fascinating.
it is fascinating, and because even myself, a little known fact, and I think we've mentioned this on previous podcasts, is that when Sheamus cashed in Money in the Bank at Survivor Series, I guess a year and a half ago, so it would have been 2015. I'd actually said earlier in the night that if Sheamus cashes in, I will stop watching wrestling. Because I didn't want to see Sheamus. I did not want to see him whatsoever. And at the end of the show, I had to stop watching wrestling, and I did probably for about a month.
Because he broke
It wasn't even a month.
I think it was a month.
He came crawling back.
He bro kicked your hero Roman Reigns, and you refuse to watch him anymore.
Is that what happened?
I think he did. Yeah, because Roman Reigns won the title, right?
Yeah.
And then Sheamus beat him.
You were
right away.
mad that Roman Reigns lost the belt.
No, I wasn't mad.
your
I was
hero.
I was just mad that Sheamus was the champ again for no apparent reason.
You like his safety vest.
I love his D'Lo Brown vest.
The vest that covers the unknown.
Maybe he has. Maybe
You don't know what the heck's going on into that thing.
Maybe he's got like gigantic areolas,
Look at those man boobs.
size of dinner plates,
They're just tied together.
Oh.
like two ends of balloons.
You can see duct tape coming through the vest. What is
What is going on? That is so strange.
is that saran wrap?
Glad cling wrap.
It holds everything together, all right. Where does that leave us?
We're next
Sheamus
to
and Cesaro won their match.
They won their match, yep. And then Sheamus had become, was goofing off with Cesaro and the crowd at the end of the match.
Yeah, the crowd. You're right. The crowd was cheering him a lot. You know.
Yeah.
So it looks
having
like
a good time.
Sheamus isn't really the heel anymore. You know how Cesaro was the face, Sheamus was the heel. I think they're just
Yeah,
they're
they
both
mesh.
face.
They mesh well together. And
Yeah,
they like
they're
each other
dressing
now.
the same.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of nice to see. It was kind of getting old that they didn't like each other.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
There was a vignette that WrestleMania 34 will be on April 8th, 2018 in New Orleans, or New Orleans, depending on how you like to say it.
Or Nolans,
New Orleans.
as they say in Nolans.
So I put ... again,
Mhm. ... Yeah, it is weird that they're having it, like, really, it'll be the second time in 5 years.
No, you said, was it the third time or second time?
Second time.
Second time?
Because they had it 30 and now 34.
30, 34.
But now they're doing this. Now they're doing this thing where they don't, like, cities come to them and they bid on them, right? It's almost like Olympics.
Oh,
right?
so that's
So
maybe why this is
they
happening.
They were probably the highest bidder.
Okay.
The mayor of New Orleans says, "I will give you $1 million and 10 pounds of crawfish
Well, the thing is, you're
I'll
right,
give
Tyler.
you all the beads.
and a po' boy."
If they allow the bidding to occur, you could have a better show based on how much money they give, right?
Yeah.
Like, so maybe that's what
Because
happens.
the WrestleMania, the whole week, like, draws in so much money to the city, right?
Okay, yeah.
That's interesting, eh?
Yeah.
You know what's actually a couple that we know during the kids' spring break, they actually went to Orlando and they went on a Disney cruise the week before WrestleMania. It was a spring break, right? And he actually said that he didn't even know it was WrestleMania in Orlando. The only reason he knew was because he ran into somebody, and I guess he was just talking with him, who told him that they actually came into Orlando specifically for WrestleMania. But there were no like banners around. There was no advertising that he could see in Orlando.
Wow.
Saying that WrestleMania was there, even though from the outside world, it sounds like it was this gigantic spectacle the entire week leading up to WrestleMania.
Okay.
Yeah, spring break was
Just
would
strange.
have been the week where they would have had things on them.
That's what happens when Mickey Mouse takes over.
Would they have? Was the person that told them they were in there for WrestleMania? Did he have long hair? Was he wearing a vest with 2 R's on it?
It was totally
Ricky Rouse?
Rover Rudolph.
It must have been Munchies.
It was Munchies.
It totally was my.
Long-haired Munchies.
Hi, Munchies.
You may have noticed me, WrestleMania 33, flipping off the camera.
You may remember me from such WrestleManias as 33 and 33.
Although if that guy was in 33 and he saw them before 33 happened, he's some kind of time traveler.
He's Doc Brown.
That's deep. Next match, Sami Zayn versus Jinder Mahal. I wrote a lot about this match.
Why?
Sami Zayn won. That is all.
They stopped. Have they quit the hard body Mahal thing, and now he's just kind of Jinder Mahal.
Well, the whole thing was that it was Handsome Rusev and Hard Body Mahal, right?
Yeah, James and I just keep calling him Hard Body Mahal, though.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's just like Tony Nese's abs.
No, that's only you that calls him that. And Corey Graves once.
Austin Aries, I think, mentioned it once and twice.
Austin Aries, a double.
Yeah.
Sully Erna.
He does look like Sully.
Sully.
A rounder-faced Sully.
Yeah, he's the lead singer of Godsmack,
Oh.
the band.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't look like Sully at all.
Sure he does.
Nah.
No,
It's
I-
actually him.
Yeah, he does look like him.
Anyway, go back to your amazing Sami Zayn.
No, that's
notes.
it. The match was done. Sami Zayn won. That match was terrible and boring. I didn't care.
I don't
care
remember
for
much
it.
about it, to be honest.
Yeah, there was nothing to it. It was exactly what I thought it was gonna be. Boring. Did you watch it?
Yes, I did.
What'd you think of it?
I had mixed reactions.
Mixed reactions. You're like
Mostly, the reactions were either to fast forward twice or fast forward 3 times.
my mixed reactions were disappointment and hunger. so I went and made a
And
sandwich.
hunger moved away.
It was a tad bit gassy.
Either way, I fast forwarded the match. No, I actually did. I think I kind of watched it, and it was really boring. So I wrote nothing down because it's Sami Zayn and Jinder Mahal. What more?
2 of your favorites.
What more can I say? Oh, there were moments that you and I think we discussed how we could see some things for Mahal, but no, he's not going anywhere. Although he was the third last in the Battle Royal.
Yeah, but I don't like the way. He's not the best. He doesn't have very good strikes. I don't think he's a very good wrestler.
Nah, I'm impressed
As
with
Cyrus
how
would say, he doesn't have a very good working punch.
It's funny you said that. I was thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't, eh? No.
He does forearms.
He's got a good look,
He
though.
doesn't know how to punch.
Yeah.
That's it.
You're right. All right, that leads us to the last match of the night. Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe versus Seth Rollins and the mystery opponent, Finn Balor. What do you think about this one?
I like the match, but one thing, are we on the cusp of seeing these gigantically long entrances all the time now
With Finn?
with anybody?
I agree.
Like, because, well, if I don't know, we're probably not going to talk about this on SmackDown, but somebody debuted and they had an insanely long entrance. And
Nakamura?
Finn had an insanely long entrance. Is this just a post WrestleMania entrance, or is this going to be
How long
the
was
new normal?
How long was Nakamura's entrance on SmackDown?
as long as the Undertaker Roman Reigns chanting?
Really?
Almost that long.
Wow.
It definitely went on for a while. They started off, and what was really bizarre about that one, I mean, we're not going to get a chance to really chat about SmackDown much, but
Not much at all.
they brought the they actually had a violin player standing on the and he kind of did like the violin piece.
Normally it's on a pay-per-view you would see that, though, right?
Yeah, they did that at NXT
Takeover?
Dallas. Takeover Dallas?
With the when he
No,
fought
no,
Zayn?
that was
No.
the debut. No, he did that at the NXT when he had his first NXT Championship match against Samoa Joe.
Okay.
When the violinist came
Oh,
out.
okay. So, anyways, the violinist he came out and he did he played the beginning and song part because there's definitely the violins in the song throughout. But anyways, he played along with like the soundtracked theme music. So it kind of sounded weird.
Oh, really? Okay.
I thought it did.
Yeah, it was kind of
anyways.
like double violins.
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't just him.
No, and it was I mean it was in sync, but it sounded odd because you had this recorded violin and then you had him playing the live violin at the same time, and so it was different tones and it was really, really weird.
Yeah, that's similar to lip syncing. That is weird.
But then anyways, so Nakamura came down and he didn't say anything. All he kind of did was
Well, he interrupted the Miz and Maurice.
well, no, they were leaving.
Well, they were
Like,
kind of
their segment was over already.
Well, were they leaving because they were kind of leaving and then froze.
No,
So I
I
kind of thought they were going to do something with them, but they took so long, nothing happened.
I have a feeling
I'm
that's
guessing
just a
that was
build-up.
planned,
That was
but-
planned, I'd say.
Oh, I would agree. Like
I just was kind of expecting something to happen.
Like
and
I got,
nothing did.
yeah, I got the feeling that the Miz and Maurice they were done already.
Yeah.
Like they were basically leaving the ring because they were dressed up like Cena and Nikki.
Yeah.
So they were basically saying they're leaving and the WWE and all this kind of stuff.
Okay, so they're still doing the Cena and Nikki stuff.
I think they're probably done now.
Okay.
But they did do it one more time. So Maurice came out. She was wearing what looked like a ring pop on her
Yeah,
finger.
a gigantically huge ring.
God, they were making fun of that, eh?
Yeah. So, anyways, getting back to the entrances. I hope that that's not a trend, because like there's no need for that on a regular basis.
It's probably not. It's probably because it was their debuts.
Probably, or debuts, returns, whatever you want.
Because I'm not a fan of Finn. Well, I'm not a huge Finn Balor fan, period. But his entrance, especially when he comes out as the demon and crawls on the ground, no, that's so boring to me. I'm not a fan of it whatsoever.
Yeah, I kind of like Finn just in the leather jacket, and he puffs up the
I rather that.
Collar.
Because
Yeah.
I've told
Collar,
James
yeah.
in the last podcast, and all of our listeners, I'm not a big gimmick fan anymore. I'm done with the Undertaker's gimmick. I'm not a huge Bray Wyatt gimmick fan. I kind of like just these kind of regular guys like KO and Finn Balor being himself, and even just Nakamura is he's kind of got a Michael Jackson thing going, but he's more or less just himself with red leather pants. I don't know. It's just they're kind of more themselves as opposed to having to be some sort of the goon or some sort of dentist, or you know what I mean.
TL Hopper.
Duke the Dumpster Drowsy.
truck driver,
Who's a truck driver?
Diesel.
Oh yeah, kind of.
Was he actually a truck
or
driver?
was he like? I don't know what he was. Did he
I
represent?
thought he was a truck driver.
I kind of always saw him as, is he the semi? Should have just come out looking like a semi
maybe
truck.
maybe he because he was just a bodyguard, right?
Yeah.
So no, he wasn't.
He looked like Vinny
Vinny.
Vegas, like when he was in WCW,
Yeah.
right? He looked the same. Yeah.
His truck drivers looked like that back in the 90s. That'd be pretty badass.
You know who actually looks like a truck driver? Luke Harper.
He's and Luke Gallows.
Luke Gallows? No, I don't say that.
Oh, a legitimate one, yes.
Possibly.
Luke
Looks like a biker more
Luke
than-
Harper looks more like a mass murderer. He actually looks like that guy from British Columbia that did the mass murders there.
Robert Picton?
He looks like Picton so much.
Gosh.
It's terrible. Whenever I see Luke Harper, sorry, I see Robert Picton.
Oh my goodness.
It is what it is.
It's got dark.
It's got dark.
Got real.
It's got real. So anyways, on to the KO and Samoa Joe match versus Rollins and Finn Balor. It was mentioned that all four of these men were former NXT champions.
It's kind of cool.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really notice that at first. Michael Cole points out that Seth...
Shout out to Bo Dallas.
Oh, God. Can't believe he was a former champ. Cole points out that Seth has had a bad knee, and Balor is just getting back from an injury. So, I don't know if he was foreshadowing anything there, but nothing really happened based on that.
They both looked fine, no problems
Yeah.
at all. Not even with Seth. I think Seth's injury is kind of.
They looked pretty
fine.
smooth.
Yeah.
KO is now apparently called the face of America.
I didn't hear that actually.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. I was watching with my buddy Daryl, and he had noticed it before myself. I'm like, the face of America. So he pointed out that essentially who's wrestling here is the Demon, the Architect, the Destroyer, and the face of America.
Well, it's kind of one of those things where, like, now that the U.S. champion, like, I think somebody called themselves the champion of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody called themselves that. I think it was maybe either Rusev or Swagger or somebody good.
Yeah. And Seth Rollins did a crazy high flip over the top rope onto Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe. I've essentially overall found it a pretty good, fast-paced match. Finn Balor ended up winning clean by jumping off the top turnbuckle onto Kevin Owens with his coup de grace. And Raw ended with Seth lifting Balor's arm in the middle of the ring, which was kind of ironic because didn't Seth injure Finn Balor?
at their match in SummerSlam.
Yeah.
They fought each other for the Universal Championship.
Yeah,
That's
and now all of a sudden they're buddies.
But
Okay. So, hey, you guys have anything else to say regarding that match?
No, it was good. I liked it.
Yeah,
I thought it was
good
good.
match.
Yeah.
So that was Raw. Let's roll on to the Raw S&M, the legendary Raw S&M at this stage. Best match of the night for myself, Neville versus Mustafa Ali, number 1. Really, really good match. It's number 2, I'd say Hardy Boys versus The Club. How about you guys?
I thought the main event was a really good match. I probably didn't really say anything about it, so you can't really tell if you thought it was my favorite match, but I liked it a lot. I like Finn Balor. I'm glad he's back. It's going to make things interesting going forward. Seth Rollins is great. Not really sure. I guess Samoa Joe's still maybe just kind of be Kevin Owens' kind of protector. I don't know if he's going to work with... I don't know if Triple H is going to be on it all that much anymore. But I liked it. I thought it was a good match. And number 2... probably the Sheamus and Cesaro Enzo Cass match. I like that match a lot.
For me, I actually really liked, and it's more or less just because they debuted, and I really, really enjoy them. But the New Day versus the Revival, I thought that was a really good match. I think the Revival's a pretty cool tag team, so that was good. And the main event was quite good as well. So I'd say both of those two were my top 2.
Wow, we were almost all over the map on this. They're very interesting. My 2 matches were different than Tyler's, and you had one different than all of us as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of surprised you picked that Neville Mustafa Ali match.
Did you watch it?
I watched it.
It was wicked.
Okay, but it was a
It was amazing.
Not an enhancement talent match, but I kind of thought that's how it was. So,
but if you watched
extended squash,
an extended squash, yeah,
match was amazing.
Okay.
That was way better than the main event, in my opinion. It was extremely exciting, regardless of the fact that it was Mustafa Ali. That guy did really good in that match. I've seen other matches by his, and they weren't exactly anything impressive.
I'd actually never seen him before in my entire life.
I did mention in a previous podcast that Neville does mention Mustafa Ali.
I did actually recall that when he came to the ring.
Yeah.
But I'd never actually seen him before.
I didn't know why, but I think I've understood. He almost beat him in a match in the past.
Oh, I see.
And that's where they're going off of that. But either way, of course Neville won. Worst match of the night, by far, Sami Zayn versus Jinder Mahal.
Worst match of the night for me? Probably that 6-woman tag team match. Oh, that 6-woman tag team match, probably the worst. And it wasn't a bad match, actually. It's just if I have to pick a worst, I'd pick that one.
Cool. James?
Yeah, I'd probably go with Zayn and Mahal as well. Neither of them are really doing anything for me. Unfortunately, I feel bad for Zayn. It's gonna take a lot to kind of build him back up again. I think with the Superstar shakeup, and he gets potentially moved to SmackDown, I hope that actually happens. Because kind of maybe just having a new environment for him, they can kind of maybe he can start fresh again to an extent. Potentially, maybe he could feud with AJ Styles.
Yeah, he's kind of burned all the bridges on
Raw. There's not much else for him to do.
No, he's lost to Kevin Owens. He's lost to Samoa Joe.
Mm-hmm.
He's lost to Braun Strowman.
Strowman or Strowman? That was a discussion last week we had.
That's why I brought it up.
It's all over the map. Yeah. Okay, cool. Best segment for me, Vince McMahon, Teddy Long, Kurt Angle. That was a funny one. I liked it a lot.
I referenced this early in the podcast. Kurt Angle, Enzo Cass. Best segment in a long time. God, I love Kurt Angle.
I completely agree. Kurt Angle with Enzo and Cass. It was so fluid. Like Kurt Angle, he was just completely deadpan. It felt so real. Like the way that they were kind of going back and forth, interacting with one another. Absolutely. Like it didn't seem like he was. He had rehearsed his lines or anything. It seemed like they were having a conversation. Like he was legitimately, he was just legitimately, innocent in the conversation. So, anyways, it was so funny.
It's like he's never missed a beat. Like when we've seen guys come back. Like I'm reminded of Bret Hart coming back and being the general manager. He was kind of bad because he kind of didn't really feel like he knew what he was talking about. And Hogan kind of flubbed his lines, but Kurt Angle, like he never left.
Yep. No, agreed. 110%.
Okay, and lastly, worst segment. I had trouble with this one. I put Roman Reigns. I said only because he really said nothing, but the crowd was awesome. And I said I wasn't a huge fan of the Sami Zayn and Kurt Angle one, the segment backstage, where Sami was basically sucking up to Kurt Angle. I wasn't a huge fan of that compared to the segment you guys just talked about. That's for sure.
I would say the worst segment was probably the Roman Reigns one at the beginning. Not because
I like the crowd.
I didn't like the crowd. I thought that was too much. The "F you Roman" and
the swearing
is way too much. Come on, like.
You know what? The crowd's usually smarter than that. That they're not supposed to do that kind of stuff. And when I was hearing this, I looked at like my buddy Daryl and I was like, "Am I hearing this right now? Like, is this really happening?"
It wasn't necessary. I mean, come on, guys. Like.
I think Corey or Saxton had to even like say, "Yeah, the crowd's throwing their favorite 4-letter words." They had to almost mention it.
I didn't really watch it. I kind of fast forwarded through that stuff.
Yeah,
I didn't like it.
Yeah, the swearing. I found everything else besides the F-bombs. I thought they were kind of funny. You almost feel bad for Roman because I don't know if that's what he knew. I'm pretty sure he expected something like this, but.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for Roman at all.
No.
I feel bad for the families that bring their children and there's people screaming F you like at the top of their lungs.
Yeesh.
For 10 minutes.
Ugh.
That's what I feel. That's who I feel bad for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. James, your worst segment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably have to go with the Reigns segment too. It's not, and yeah, it wasn't Reigns' fault at all. I think he actually did exactly what he should have done. Is just, he said nothing but like after all the boos and everything, which was totally over the top with the chants and whatnot. He could have gotten away. Like there didn't need to be all of that, but obviously again that's not his fault and that's not WWE's fault. That's the crowd, just being kind of ridiculous. And it's a few people probably kind of starting it, and then. It kind of grows and grows and gets worse and worse. But I thought he handled it the best he could, and with him just basically saying, "This is my yard now," and dropping the mic, like that was just the perfect thing for him to do.
Yeah, that's all he needed to do. He didn't need to go into some big spiel.
No, he did.
No, that was good on him for doing that. I like that part.
So so probably that one just simply because. Of the crowd, and then I don't know. I kind of liked the Zayn and Kurt Angle segment was not bad. I kind of like that. Yeah, I liked this Raw a lot. It's the first time I think in a long time that I can say that I actually pretty much watched the entire show.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing. It was really good.
Because there was certainly a time where I would watch Raw, and it's a 3-hour show. I would watch it in like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Because there was so much of it that just felt like just filler.
Well,
absolute filler.
Yeah, dragging on.
Yes.
We don't know, that could happen again in the future, but now it's good.
Yeah, it's right now. And I think historically, I know when 2 years ago, after Seth Rollins had cashed in, and was the undisputed champion, right? Or the world heavyweight champion, rather. I think there was probably about a month of really good Raws.
Yeah.
After WrestleMania, it was pretty good. And then kind of once they kind of threw in a feud with Kane.
Yeah, Kane seems to be the.
Because that killed Daniel Bryan too. It's just the buzz killer.
Yeah.
So 2 years ago there was definitely a few good weeks of Raw, and then it just went right downhill again. So I'm hoping they can somehow get the momentum going again. Since there's the two shows and they're doing the Superstar shakeup. I'm hoping that can kind of just continue to breathe life into the two brands. So plus you do have the two shows now. So you've got the Raw brand and you've got the SmackDown with completely different people. completely different storylines that aren't kind of meshing in with one another because they are different.
Yeah,
I think that helps.
Yeah, when you would watch before the draft, Raws and SmackDowns were kind of more in the same, so you didn't really even need to watch SmackDown, and you were kind of done with Raw, and because SmackDown was kind of an extension of it, I don't even need to watch this. I didn't want to watch the 3 hours. I don't want to watch another 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes things more interesting. Yeah, the superstar shakeup.
Or
good.
the trade, the mini trade, as I'd like to call
Mini
it.
trade.
Yeah, it'll probably be 3 and 3. I'm guessing.
I don't know. They might go a little more than that. Who knows? I wonder if they'll move the women around.
Well, I was just reading some rumors, and yeah, it doesn't sound like they're going to. According to rumors, it's not going to be a lot of guys. So, I think it's going to be Roman and AJ that are going to be moving over.
Mm-hmm.
Those are 2 big picks.
Oh yeah.
That'd be
Roman's going to be moving to SmackDown?
There's a lot of rumors about Roman going to SmackDown.
Really? That's surprising.
I would actually be surprised at that too.
Well, we discussed this, you and I actually think that would be bad for him to go to SmackDown.
Yeah, I agree.
At this stage, AJ coming
going to
over,
Raw
I'm excited about
makes
that.
sense.
I'd like to see that.
Then you can
yeah.
actually see AJ Styles.
Well, the thing is, AJ. Look what happened to AJ at WrestleMania. He had no one, right? So that's the issue, and so did Samoa Joe. So they gotta improve on that. The only thing is, I would have really liked to seen AJ Styles versus Nakamura. That would have been kind of cool. And if he comes to Raw, well, that'll be a little bit. So
Well, Nakamura might come to Raw too.
you think? Oh, wouldn't that be something? Hey, he just does his debut. Well, we want him. Take him, pull him back in. So, I'd like to see those two. I'd like to see AJ versus
Maybe Ty
Nakamura.
Dillinger can go to NXT.
I think he should go to Global Force Wrestling.
The referee on 205 Live.
We could almost reference Global Force Wrestling at least once on every podcast.
I don't know why, but when I think of Global Force Wrestling, I think of there was for about 6 months or so in Japan, Inoki, he had was no longer with New Japan, and he created this Inoki Genome Federation or whatever, and that's the one where Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle, they both won that version of the IWGP World Championship.
Oh.
This was we're talking a while ago.
Yeah.
But in any case, anytime I think of Global Force Wrestling, I think of that. It was called IGF. So I always, for whatever reason, I don't even know why, that's when I think of that. With Jared, that's what I think of.
Oh.
But I wasn't part of the conversation, but getting back to the women's match there on Raw, who really impressed me actually, just getting, even though I didn't like the match, Emma.
Yeah, we
talked about how
We talked about that.
Yeah, really impressed me.
Yeah, she impressed me.
She was great. Great heel tactics.
She kind of has it all right now. She's got the looks. I thought she's pretty attractive actually, and she's got the heel tactics. She's fairly vocal. She was on top of the table screaming at the announcers, throws her vest at them. I don't know, she was just kind of doing it all. It's like maybe she'll do well now after all of these kind of hardships that have been thrown. And Tyler had mentioned she's got her original gimmick where she was with
Dana Brooke.
Santino
Santino,
Marella,
right, yeah.
and she does. There's that goofy.
Well, not she doesn't do the gimmick.
No,
just
but
the
the theme music is utilized at the start of her song, and then they turn it to a darker version,
Yeah.
Right.
which is really cool.
Yeah.
So
I noticed that too.
it's kind of like they're using all 3 of her gimmicks, to a degree.
For the 3 faces of Emma.
The 3 faces of Emma.
She did. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with her.
Yeah.
And not so interesting to see what they do with Dana Brooke.
Our girl
Poor
Dana
Dana.
Brooke.
Do you think that they'll be able to recover her?
It's gonna take a bit.
Yeah, it might take a little bit.
There's gonna be a
She's
bit
tough
of-
though.
She is.
She's a lifter in real life.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I think she's
I think she was thinking about going back,
could be.
but who knows?
Maybe
I'm
she
sure
could.
it'll make a little bit more money in wrestling though. But
Yeah, just a bit.
just a bit. Yeah. These private competitions with powerlifting, I'm sure wouldn't quite touch her WWE career.
No.
Yeah.
Dana Brooke's the winner of the bodybuilding competition. Here's a ribeye steak.
And a 20.
Here's a gift certificate to Blockbuster Video.
Oh my god.
Blockbuster Video, but I'm a Rogers girl.
Jumbo video.
Start time, please.
Jumbo video.
What is Addie's Video still around?
God.
H&R Video. I'm just gonna name random video stores from our childhood.
Probably all local to Winnipeg at this stage.
Probably local to our area of town.
Oh god. Is there anything else you guys wanted to cover tonight?
No, I think we're good. I'd like to thank Tyler once again for joining us here on the WrestleMania recap and chatting about Raw with us. It was good to have you again.
Oh, thanks a lot. I had a great time.
Yeah.
Wrestling was fun this week.
It was. Yeah, WrestleMania 33 and the Raw after Mania, I think overall pretty good. Overall, I'd say it's pretty good.
I think it met expectations.
Yeah. I'd say the Raw actually exceeded my expectations. WrestleMania 33, yeah, it met my expectations.
I think, I agree. The Raw exceeded my expectations.
Yeah.
I was expecting a lot of the fan chants, but I wasn't expecting a really good show.
No,
And
I thought it was actually gonna.
pleasantly surprised.
I thought it was actually gonna suck, to be honest with
Yeah.
you. I really did. Now the Raw before Mania, that was not so good.
That was a throwaway.
Well, those are
Yeah,
historically not good because everything's kind of set in stone and there's
Yeah.
nothing left to do.
Yeah, Rick's actually said that in the past too. He's just basically everything's just kind of wrapping up, and it was very segmenty, and
Just kinda goes through the motions.
there was a lot of good matches on this Raw, which was nice too. Not just a really good segments with Angle backstage,
Yes.
and yeah, a lot of funny stuff. Funny stuff with Vince. Funny stuff with Teddy Long. I really enjoyed that too.
That was funny.
I laughed my head off when Teddy was like, "My bad." I was like, it was so funny. He's a funny guy, Teddy Long.
Holla, holla, holla.
Yeah, he's easy. He's easy to like too. The crowd was waiting for Angle, but they forgave it all because Teddy is just so funny.
Yeah,
he's a lovable guy, right?
He's lovable.
Yeah. So everyone cheered and laughed, and he walked out, and then they were ready for Angle again.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. So yeah, it was WrestleMania 33 and Raw after Mania. I liked it.
Cool.
Right on. Well, that leaves us with one final thing to say. James, Tyler, Rick, world, we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, ciao for now.